Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining. This is going to be a special episode where we're not taking calls. Well, we're going to take one, hopefully, if April can call in later on to discuss this session, because this is super important. Because with the BQH session we had, April and I had my first one yesterday with Debbie Hazelton, and it was wonderful. And then I had one today with T. Taylor, me giving her a session, which was wonderful. But here's the cool thing about this. April had hers before these two, and the one I had yesterday, and then the one T. Taylor I did with T. Taylor today, validated not only what I had in my session yesterday with Debbie Hazelton, but with April's session she had with me. So it's all coming together. There's all little pieces of the puzzle. This is a very cool time to be alive, and this is a very cool tool, beyond quantum healing as a modality or a tool to further our development and understanding. And I think you guys will enjoy this, because this is it's all coming together. And I want to preface this by saying that this session I'm airing, I did optimize it, so they typically don't go this fast. There's usually a lot of air in between. I went through the whole session. I took out the dead space and some of the redundancies and things like that. But for the most part, this is from beginning to end. Our session was cut short, which is no problem, but because it was a super long session as it was, probably my longest yet, but it was going so good. It actually disconnected, and it was funny because I got a text from April saying, I woke up sweaty, ? And I'm like, I didn't realize we had disconnected. I was waiting for her answer. But she, just to show you that if something happens and you get disconnected, the people wake up. Or, I've called back people when we got disconnected, and then they answer the phone. They're like, sorry, I fell asleep. I'm like, no, you didn't fall asleep. That's just how it works. Sometimes you just don't remember. So let me see. I wanted to cover the beginning of it. The mic was kind of hard to hear. I cut out the part where I had her straighten her mic up or whatever, but the audio will get a little clearer after a minute or two. Let's see. So without further ado, let me start this up. And April was kind enough to let us air this because there's some deciphering we're going to have to do. There was some really cool symbols in her session. And I think we have our little think tank here of light workers, and we can listen to it, give our opinions on what we think it might be. And then at the conclusion of the audio, April and I, if she's able to, if she has time, then we'll actually discuss it. We'll discuss some of her reactions and thoughts about the session. And then we can discuss any input you guys have. So I think that's good enough of an intro. I did want to say that April did not remember. We'll have to find out exactly how much she remembered after listening to the audio. But I know that when the session was over, I asked her about a few things, and she had no recollection of the spiders and some other things. So a big thank you to April. A big thank you to Debbie Hazelton for my session yesterday. And a big thank you to T. Taylor for her session today, which just gave us more validating information. So this is so cool, and I'm going to start the audio now. So we won't be taking calls for those just joining. We're just playing this audio, so here we go. Can you tell me what you see, April?
Just space and different colors.
Mm-hmm.
Swirls like a spiral of
mm-hmm.
a little
And can you see yourself, your point of view? Do you have a body?
I see movement, like flowing movement, but I just see like movement of it's almost like a fog,
Mm-hmm.
but it's light. It's like smoke.
Okay.
It's smoke.
And it's obstructing your view?
It's just swirling in it,
With colors?
a spiral, like looking into like a spiral of, it's like something stuck in it.
Mm-hmm. What colors do you see?
It's just like a smoke, translucent, not even, it's like really not even a color because you can see through it.
Mm-hmm. Can you follow the swirl? Can you go where it's being sucked to?
Yeah, I feel like I'm being sucked into it.
Let's just gently float into it and see where it takes you.
New colors and still floating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still floating in it.
And how do you feel while you're floating in it?
Just relaxed,
Mm-hmm. Peaceful.
peaceful, and it's like really no thoughts. Like just, I see an eyeball now. It's a green eyeball.
Oh, wow. How big is it?
Looks like it's on a panther.
Mm-hmm.
A cat.
Mm-hmm. It's like a cat eye?
Mm-hmm. And it's green.
Nice. Is it a doorway or a portal, or is it small like an eye?
It's not attached to anything around it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a cat eye with no attachment.
Why don't you move towards it and see if you can touch it and tell me what it feels like?
It's gone.
It's gone?
Yeah, now I'm back in the swirly smoke.
Mm-hmm. Do you see any light when you look around in any direction?
It's like, it's just really, it's almost like, I think it's the Milky Way. That's what it is.
Oh, beautiful.
It's like a swirly smoke that I'm floating in it, and then it's like the Milky Way, kind of like, it's dark, but there's light.
And how do you see yourself? Are you a planetary body or a person?
I don't see myself. It's like I know I'm floating because I feel myself floating in it. But
you don't really have a form.
Yeah, I can't. It's like I'm invisible, but I know I'm floating. I can feel, but not see. Kinda.
Is there anything in the Milky Way that's got your attention that you feel drawn to?
But say, and it's like I'm seeing images that are. It's like it's that a smoky image. It's almost like the fog, or what it's steam. It's creating images.
Can you tell me about some of the images it's creating? Is it just random images?
It's yeah, it's random, but there's a goat, a goat head, a goat head with big horns, a turtle,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Any other images coming up?
It's now there's the blue. Now it's the blue tunnel.
Mm-hmm. Is it like a portal?
I think so. It's really blue. It's like a blue light.
Yeah. That sounds nice. Do you want to move through it?
Yeah, it's a purple heart.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's move through this portal and see where it takes us.
There's a lot of white dots,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of like stars, but they're not big or bright. It's like it'd be like just looking at a dot far away.
Mm-hmm.
But they're right in front of me.
Oh, like a little sparkle.
Yeah, that's it. It's like a very blue
Mm-hmm.
light.
Is it the same color as the portal?
It is. It's like it's guiding me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm following it.
Okay. Yeah, let's see where the blue sparkle takes you. Is there just one?
Mm-hmm. And it's moving. It's not a sparkle. It's like a blue.
Hmm. So it's more like a tiny orb?
No, it's swirling.
Oh, like a little miniature portal.
Mm-hmm. I'm saying something like I'm communicating, but it's telling me something.
Okay. Just take your time and listen and see what it's telling you. Or if it's showing you any pictures.
And it's moving through my body.
Mm-hmm. What does that feel like?
It's kind of painful.
Does it feel like it's clearing things out?
Maybe. But it's not a real pain, like it's not cutting,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like aches. It's in my knees.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you ask it in your mind what is it doing and see if it tells you anything?
It's like it's like a harmonizer,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's in my stomach now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a blue spider that's producing webs.
Mm-hmm.
Spider webs.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
It's connecting some things?
yeah, it's like, maybe, because it's spider webs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. It's not bad. It is a form of communication.
Mm-hmm.
And it's intertwining. Like I'm being created.
Mm-hmm.
It's a creation.
It's beautiful. Are you able to zoom in on it and look at it closely and tell me what you see?
I am it.
You're it now?
I'm it.
Are you able to talk for it? To explain what's happening?
In this space. It's life force. Life force connecting and loving all forms, all energy. Translucent, transparent. It's hot, it's cold. is creating life force energy, loving it in a translucent way of whatever it needs to be. It moves into that. Able to transform, transmute, like into whatever. And okay, yeah. It is a vapor. It is a vapor. It's the vapor that I was seeing.
And can you feel it in your body?
Yes.
And what does it feel like?
I am it.
And what do you feel like?
It's like connecting, life force connection. It's in all things. It's the beginning of creation in the sense of I can't understand it. Okay, now I'm going back through a tunnel. It's up. It's a different direction. I'm going in a different upward tunnel now. It's light. It's peaceful. Rest. It's a resting place in the sky. Little spots that you can rest in. And you go in these little spot, like a bubble. And it's a space for you. And you can go in there. I'm going to go in there.
And where is this place?
It's in you.
It's inside of you?
Yeah. I'm inside of me.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I'm inside of my body. That's where I am.
That's amazing.
And there's a resting place. And it's, I'm trying to figure out where it is. Oh no, sorry. I see a big-eyed being. And it's looking at me.
What does he look like? What does it look like?
It's got big eyes, like they're black. And
Does this being have anything to say?
it's looking at me. Who are you?
Is he saying anything?
No.
What about telepathically?
Yeah, he's in my eye, or I'm in his eye right now. Oh, and it's another swirl.
Do you know who this being is?
It's I think I'm in the brain right now. It looks like a brain, and it's wired, and it's spongy. It's moving around.
Is this your brain?
I don't know. I'm in a brain, and it's it's not connected. It's I can't. It's not mine.
Do you know whose brain you're in?
I'm on the blue light again, and it's blue eyeball.
So you're in the eyeball of the being you were looking at earlier?
It's blue.
It's a blue eye?
The blue eye. I'm going in through eyeballs. I'm seeing this. It's consciousness, but it's this one's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm in the head again, in the brain, but it's not like a human brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a human brain. And it's interesting, this connection is, it's like a twisted. It's like a human brain is different, and this is more the grooves. Okay, yes. The grooves in this brain are DNA strands. That's what they look like, twisted, like double-stranded through this brain. It's double-stranded to where the human brain is more like grooves.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is it's like a DNA strand, but it's in the brain, and that's the connection and how it's connected with the communication. Is all is communicating through the DNA. This being is got like, it looks like a leaf with bubbles on it.
Mm-hmm.
The DNA strands in this. And then there's the center, and the center's all lit up.
Mm-hmm. Is it changing?
It's shaped into a butterfly, but it's not, but it looks like a generic, like, traced butterfly, but it's lit up right in the center of the brain, and it's in the center, and it's an awakened being.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what it is, and it's an awakened being.
So it's how all of our brains are going to change.
Possibility.
Yeah.
It's
I wonder if you can move outside of this being to get a different perspective and see what you're looking at from the outside. What being is this that you're looking at?
I gotta go back out to the eye, and it's closed.
When you turn around and look back at the brain, what do you see?
That's so interesting. Wow, it's a bunch of little miniature hands grabbing a wheel and spinning it and spinning again. I'm spinning again. I'm going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm on you sit on it and you spin around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a merry-go-round.
And it's all these little hands, but they're really little.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're like, they have fingers.
Mm-hmm. Do the hands change, or are they doing the same thing?
They're the same color,
Mm-hmm.
and they're tiny, and they're sparkly, and it's just a connecting wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're spinning it another way, the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, this way seems harder for them. The rhythm is different it's like they have to try.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see the connect, I just see hands, I don't see the body.
Mm-hmm.
It's drilling. It's a drill.
Mm-hmm.
And as it's spinning this way, the drill's going the opposite way on the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to go that way right now. And it's drilling into something, and it's drilling a hole into something, and it's spraying out liquid.
Mm-hmm. What does the liquid look like?
It's interesting because the way even the liquid is spraying out, it's spraying out in a like a sprinkler system in a pattern, and it's translucent,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not really light.
Mm-hmm.
It's mass.
Mass?
It's mass. It's a mass.
Mm-hmm.
It's drilling a hole, and it's like they're pointing with their finger, look, look, look.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the drill.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the drill.
Does it look like an auger, like for the ground? Or is it smaller, like to drill in the wood?
Smaller, and it's got unbelievable. It's like got little buckets on it, and it's drilling down and carrying out. It's like a chainsaw, but the chain is buckets,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going up and down, and it's water. It's drilling out information. It's the something's changing. It's tapping in. It's tapping into this information, a well of information.
Mm-hmm.
And there's and now as it's getting deeper, the fingers are different. The hands are different,
What do
and
they look like?
they're furry, and they have long fingernails. And they're like little creatures now. It's not little miniature hands, but there's 3 fingers. There's only 3 fingers, and they're hairy, and they have fingernails. They're holding on to the, they're looking down in this well, and it's,
Can you tell what the information is that they're bringing up?
well, right now, it's not being drilled. It's a hole.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see that. It's looking down into this hole that's been drilled.
Mm-hmm.
And we can look. I'm looking down it, and it's we all are. We're like looking down this,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to see where it leads.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's we're waiting for someone to come up.
Mm-hmm. And who's with you?
I don't know if I'm with them or just seeing them, but they're showing me, and I don't see my body.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to look at who am I.
Are they just hands?
No, they have a face and this little body now. I can see their body, and it looks like they're really cute. They're really cute and friendly, and they're slaves.
They're slaves?
They're pet slaves.
Oh.
Like they're working for someone.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a towel, and it's the towel is a spiral, like a pig's towel, but it's straight, and I can touch it, and it feels like it's
And is it furry too?
No, it's like a hard, and it's a spiral and it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Not like rubber, it's hard.
Right.
And it's, they can make holes with it.
Oh,
They
okay.
can drill a hole with it, that's why. And then they're gray.
Mm-hmm.
They're hairy and gray, like their hair is, I can touch it. It's wiry.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a stiff hair. It's not like a cat that's soft.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like it's like a protective hair. Like it's waterproof or something like that. And it's been still hair and it's,
Are they able to communicate with you?
They smell funny.
What do they smell? What does it remind you of?
It's not anything I've ever smelled before. It's a new smell. And they have a little cute face, but it's, their eyes are big like a monkey's.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not a monkey.
Mm-hmm.
And they're showing me to look down into this hole. They're waiting for someone or something to come up out of it. It's like there's a reason why the hole had to be made for a return.
Mm-hmm.
Something's coming back up, or they're letting something out, but something's coming.
Hmm.
And it's,
what does it look? What does the hole look like when you look down it?
Like a well, but really small, and there's water. It looks like a liquid form of, it's liquid.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be water, but it's liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's clear.
It's so deep and dark, I can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
And then now there's this little it's fiber optic. There's something coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a ball of hairy light.
Mm-hmm.
It's got little pinnacles on the ends, and it's just like an electric ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's an electric ball. It's coming out it's like a jellyfish, but it's not. It's a round ball. It has fiber optic. It's a fiber optic ball.
Mm-hmm. What color is it?
It's lit up. It's like a light, but it's yellow. It's like a yellow neon light, and it's coming up out of this, and it's a molecule. It's a molecule, and it's I'm inside of something again. I'm inside of a body again, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And this molecule is yellow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a golden yellow molecule.
And it came up out of the hole?
Yeah, it's in my face right now.
Mm.
It's looking at me. It's right in my face.
Can you communicate?
I gotta close my eyes because it's so bright. I can't open my eyes. It hurts. And it's it's coming into me right now.
Oh, okay.
And
what does it feel like?
Pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It's pushing.
What are you experiencing now?
I see a bunch of feathers.
Mm-hmm.
3 dots.
Mm-hmm.
On a brown feather, and there's 3. It's a light brown feather. It's black on the edges, brown in the middle with 3 blue dots on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an eagle eye.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going into an eagle eye. And the eagle eye is brown. It's like a really interesting eyeball. Oh.
Now, is that golden ball of light still inside of you?
It's on my head.
Mm-hmm. On your crown?
Showing me right? It's showing me. It's on my head. It's on my forehead, and it's like stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
It's halfway in and halfway out.
But it's connecting you somehow to more information?
And then it's discernment. It's a discernment. I want to say a molecule, but that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a discerning force, but it's like a form of electric. It's an electric ball of discernment, and it's pushing through my head.
And do you have a physical feeling with that?
Why can't it just? Yeah, it's pushing in like it's attaching.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it's trying to do is attach, and it's pulling out. It's like it's giving, and it's like a radiator, and it's pushing something in and pulling something out. It's like trading.
Sounds like a filter.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's pulling things out and putting things back in.
Yes, that's it. It's sucking things out and putting something else in. And it's discernment. When I said, "Who are you?" It said discernment.
Well, this is really an answer to one of your questions about connecting to your higher self better. If this discernment comes in, can it give you a physical feeling to know when you're connected to your higher self?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. It's a twitching in my nose.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. My nose is twitching. I don't know what that means.
Hey, you got what you wanted.
My nose is really twitching. Oh my. It's tickling. It's twitching so much.
So now you know. The nose twitch is your sign. That's nice to know. Is this discernment connected with Christ consciousness?
Yeah. It's light. It's many forms of light.
Well, while this is connected to you, can this give you insight into some of the things you were wanting to know about? Discernment?
There's a brainwave of energy coming through that has little tentacles on it, and it's it's everywhere in the water. It's like algae, but it's not algae, and it's wading through humanity, and it's oh my gosh, it's the tiniest fiber, and it's a conduit, and it's the thing that it's that fiber optic ball with all these little, like, it's just a whole ball of light, but it's in water. And the water is lighting up like, it's good. It's a lightning storm in water. And it's lighting up, and it is all over the place. The whole whole expanse is water with lightning, and it's just, it keeps going out, and it's taking over. It's taking over, and it's on an eyeball, and it's a hairy eyeball.
It's connecting everything?
It's a spider.
Mm.
Oh.
Is this the one from earlier?
I'm in a spider, and it's a web, and it's a blue light web, and it is a connection, humanitarian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a humanitarian, and it's
So there's a network of fiber optic light that's spreading throughout everything and connecting everything?
and it's a spider.
Is the light pulsating or just...
Spider is a humanitarian.
Mm-hmm.
It's connecting the web of life, and it's all connecting everywhere, but there's something new coming in, and it's like the light was now it's blue, and it's and the brain of consciousness, the universal brain of consciousness is changing, and it's blue now, and it's universal brain of consciousness is all the colors of the chakras, and it's blue now.
Mm.
And that's what we need, not me, everyone. We got a blue light wave, and it's prepared us for something.
What color was it?
It's going through me right now. It's blue.
What color was it before it turned blue?
And it was white.
It was white?
Not white. No, it's not white. It's a light. It's not white, it's a light.
Mm-hmm.
It just says light.
Mm-hmm.
But right now it's blue. And it's a spider. It's a humanitarian being, a spider race. It's a spider race. The consciousness is a spider race, but they're nice, and that's the eyeball. The spider race is the connectors, and they're connecting the universal brain, and it's blue right now, and it's flowing everywhere. I mean, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's a web, and it's this spider being is nice, and it's water, and it's coming so fast I can't keep up.
Mm-hmm.
Water and light equals blue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a synergistic, energetic combination of the water and the lightning that activated this blue light force.
Mm.
So it's like we connected that, and now we're in the blue light. It's beautiful.
At the center, the hub of this network that you're looking at, what do you see at the center? Is that the spider or the human or the consciousness brain?
I could freak out. If I didn't feel so much love, I would pass out right now because it's spiders coming out of it. Spiders. Oh my gosh. It's so many spiders. Oh, they're hopping everywhere out of the center of this universal consciousness, and it's the middle. Okay, there it is. There it is.
What do you see?
It's in the center. Okay, this is so cool because it looks like it's a brain, but it's like an illusion. It's a brain that you can see everything that's going on in it, and it's all light sensors and wires and DNA connectors, and it's like a machine. But it's not. It's all electric. It's all electric lights. I can see things in it. Like, I can see connections to where it it's connected to the heart
Mm-hmm.
beat. The heartbeat is the life force energy. It's the one beat in all things. And the spiders are coming out from the center of it, and there's like this, it's a pod in the center. It's like right in the center, like north, south, east, west, in the center, like the compass, and it is so bright.
And that's where the spiders are coming out from?
And that's what they're saying, is that the light in water equals blue. That these are the blue light. They're producing the blue light, or the blue web light. You know, this. It's blue, but it is connecting everything, and that's the spiders. And
let's look at the other end of this network and see some of the things it's connected to. When you go out to the other end, what do you see?
Oh wow! It goes into the planets. All the planets. And it's a system. And it's almost like it produces rain. And it's blue sparkling rain that's raining down on Earth, that it's raining everywhere. And some places are really cold, and it's still raining there, but it's blue ice. Oh, it's interesting, because the spiders have eyeballs all around them. And they're able to see all things at once.
Oh, nice.
And so they can see, like, I can look out of one eye of the spider, and I can see, like, the universe. And then I can look out of another eye and see the Earth, the Earth planet, you know, like the sun and the moon and Earth. Like, I can zone in just on that atmosphere, the Earth's atmosphere. And I can look out of another eye, and I can zone in anywhere I want on the Earth. I can see, and it's raining, this blue spider web all over the Earth, and then it hits the atmosphere, and it pops into the air. It's in the ebb. We're breathing it in. We're breathing this in.
And it's constantly flowing?
It is. It's for a moment. It's like, it's not that they're saying it, but I know that this is for a moment in time. This is necessary, but it's for a moment in time, preparing us. Everyone, every being, like, it has to, it's a grounding, it's kind of like we gotta have this, or we would just explode.
So are you able to look out of any eye in any time or space?
And the spiders?
Yeah, when you look out of the eyes, you said you can look out of one and see the whole universe.
Humanitarians. We can. There's the eyeballs all around the spider, and it's all seeing. It's the all-seeing eye. It's like,
Okay, so you're able to see what's happening on the whole planet as a whole, then, and where we're headed.
Yeah. It's our job to the blue light, and then others will come to do different work. so the time was to come and the pod opened for these humanitarian beings that look like spiders.
They're helping us behind the scenes
Yeah,
to connect people?
yeah, they're good. They're benevolent beings, and they're working for the universe and the universal consciousness. And but it's for a time, and I can't. It's like I'm in them, and I know they can't. It's what their job is. This is their place in the universal body to do this webbing of the blue light. It's and they have no say over what's coming or what the next job is. This is their assignment, and that's all they know.
It's like compartmentalized then.
Yes.
Can you see what your relationship is personally? What April's relationship is with this network?
Well, we're all part of the universe. And I'm part. I'm in the body, the universal body of love. I'm trying to figure out where I'm at.
So this web, this network connects everything and all of the planets everywhere.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And it's if you look back, way back, you can see it. The universal body is like this galactic being. But it looks, it's arms, legs, full, it's like everything lives inside of it. It's not scary. It's not scary. It's different, though.
It's different than you expected?
Well,
maybe that's why it was being shown to you. To give you a broader awareness of how things work, maybe. Sounds complicated and simple all at the same time.
Yeah.
So you don't have an awareness of when this is going to happen? Or if it's happening right now? Or?
Yeah, we're breathing it right now. It's happening. It's just the blue light. And it's, these spiders are just webbing. And when they spin a web, the inside, I'm looking underneath one right now, and it's twisting the spider's abdomen or belly or webber where it webs out. It's spinning one way. It's spinning clockwise. And the webs are coming out the opposite direction. And and it has to be like that. It can't come out in the same direction, which is spins. I don't know why, but it can't come out the same direction, which is spins. We couldn't communicate, and we see the communication. It's tapping into that. And same way when we pray, and we talk, and it's it's so interesting that it's like it's coming out for our prayers to be connected and heard. It's like it has to spin in a different direction energetically. And it's like a DNA connection to these little, they're called codes. I don't know if they're alive. It's just a code. It's like a little dot, and and when our energy's going up, it's like a magnet of little dots of codes, the little black dots. it pops onto this cord, and then it's the magnetic force that connects it.
And that's the information that goes through this webbing?
Yeah. And it comes out of us the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I'm thinking of the chakras turning one way, but our energy is what it's saying. Like, our chakras are turning one way, like the spider's abdomen
Mm-hmm.
is turning one way, but the energy is coming out the opposite way.
Mm. And each of our chakras do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're spinning one way, but the energy's coming out in another way, the opposite way in which it spins. And that's how it's like the force of that is how we connect to the codes that then are like it pushes it to the connection, the communication.
So can you see how this webbing is connected to Earth, and then is it connected to Earth, and then Earth is connected to us, or are we connected to the webbing?
We are that. It's like we are the web. It's in everything, and it's like it's all connected. Like we are this big giant ball of webs.
Right.
Walking around. I'm going somewhere else.
Okay.
Huh. I don't know what I'm seeing. I can just describe it. It's not making sense. There's this dark force, or it's not that it's pushing or trying to,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like this energy is moving away from the darkness. So it's not necessarily that the darkness is pushing it away. It's just like when this energy moves away, the darkness comes in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a rainbow, translucent, smoky colors. Like it all I'm seeing is colors. There's
Mm-hmm.
no shape. But when these translucent colors, it's like a cloud of them, if you will, but they're just everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
When it moves away, then the darkness takes over.
Does the darkness have a shape?
No, there's no shapes.
So does it appear that the light is retreating from the darkness, or does it appear that the darkness is just taking the place of where the light left?
Yeah, the darkness is taking the place where the light left. The light is leaving, but it's not retrieving or running, or it's just leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it's going. It's being pulled back in. Wow, it's being pulled right back in into source. It's like
Mm-hmm.
going back into source. And the darkness takes it's because the light isn't there, there's darkness.
I see.
Because that's just, it just is. It's not like it has any power.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's like a blank space.
It's like a void.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, what happens when all this light reaches source?
It's showing, I'm seeing this, like a, wow. It's like a whirlpool of this beautiful translucent rainbow light.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whirlpool. It's how to describe it. It's going into this synergy of energy, but it's not necessarily sucking down, or it's going up and down
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. It's like a spiral, but as far down as it's going is as far up as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the source DNA.
So is it pulling all the light back in to fix it? What do you see?
Inside of this, it's like, it's so, you can't know it all. It's so, like, every little speck has this big operation to do, and a whole, it's more than it's a whole universe in it, but it's more. It's like a system. It's
So it's almost like it's recycling, swirling the light in and back out. Is it doing anything like repairing the DNA, or?
It seems like it's sucking it back in. Like we're going back there. Like it's a whirlpool, but it's, I don't know if I want to say we're being sucked back into it, not to come back out again, or if we're being sucked into it to be pushed back out again. But it's like that whole filter thing again.
Well, let's fast forward and watch what happens once it gets sucked back in, and let's see what happens. Let's move forward in time. Tell me what you see when all the light reaches source, the whirlpool.
It has different, the light is like it reminds me of like a dragon's nostrils. And there's several heads, and it blows out of the nostrils of this head. Let's see one. It's like these dragon heads that make a circle.
Can you tell how many heads there are?
7. And they have nostrils, and that is according which nostril you get blown out of. What happens? Some are blown back into the cycle of life, and then it's like that's when I see. I know the other ones are going somewhere, but I don't know where.
So the heads make a circle? They're situated in a circle. Are they connected to a body?
It's like they just are energy.
Are there any horns on their heads?
They kind of look like a giraffe. The little horns, like little ear horn things that pop up, but not big horns.
And they're all the same?
No. They all have different personalities.
Do they all have the same amount of horns? 2 horns?
Yeah. It's their energetic energy that's different. The form is the same.
Oh, okay. Are they the same color?
And they're all the rainbow. It's a translucent energy that's formed into this dragon.
And the dragon's breathing in and out each of the heads?
It flows out of the nostrils. Not always, but you can see all of a sudden energy blown out of the nostrils. And I'm assuming that's part of the light that's being sucked back in, and it goes to different places. Like the one I can see is leading back into it goes back into like the flow of life.
Are you able to look at one of the other nostrils? See where it goes?
It's like this. Okay, the stream of life, the place of rest, It's a nice. It's everything is nice. It's not like there's no fear.
Mm-hmm.
And
Tell me what you're seeing now.
it's like a council.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have to go to the council,
Mm-hmm.
the universal council.
Is that what these dragon heads are?
Hmm. They take you know, like one goes back into the stream of life and the place of rest. If you come out of that nostril, you'll go to the place of rest. And if you come out of this nostril, you go to council. I don't know what it means.
Is this what people deal with when they pass away?
Yeah, but it's funny because one of them is just whatever you want it to be. That nostril is like you can do whatever you want to do.
Wow.
So it is the energy, life force energy that comes back in and it's blown out of the nostrils. But the one is like whatever you want.
Wow.
Whatever you want it to be. And you can be blown into whatever you want to be. And it's just energy.
Is it random, or do people get to decide what they want to do next when they die?
Both.
Like sometimes they have to go to the council?
Yeah, some people have no intention. That they have no thoughts or belief systems, and it's just I don't even know if they go to council. I think that's just kind of like going back to the spirit hence she came. It's not, you had no intention.
Right.
No awareness. You just go back because there's nothing. And it's like, yeah, you do decide, but it's not like you know it's going to be that way.
Right.
It's just what frequency, that state that you're in is where you go.
Oh, that makes sense. So let me ask you this. Can you see the ones that had no intention that return? Do they keep their individuality, or do they sort of go merge back into source? And
it's interesting. It's like they don't have it. They have. I'm just going to describe it because I can't, and I want to analyze it, and it's probably not right. So I'll just describe like their void is like they're an empty vessel that carries inner life force energy, but there's no. It's
individual.
Just some people just carry life force energy, but that's it. That it's not a persona. It's not a anything other than energies.
So it's still the same as other people, but it doesn't have the persona. But they're just as much the same. No, it's different.
The energy is totally different. It's so different.
What's the differences you see?
It doesn't light up. It doesn't light up. It's energy, but it's kind of like it. Let me think of how to describe it. Like if I used a crayon to color a rainbow, it would be dull, versus markers or even like highlighted markers.
Right.
They have this really dull frequency. It's not that it's bad, it's just not lit up.
It's not the same.
It's not the same at all. There's a really, you can see it, it's so different. It's so different. There's a really bouncy energy. It bounces all over the place. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's inside of the form, but the form is without shape. It's like it's got boundaries, but you don't see the shape. It's like a ping pong ball.
Right.
Just bing, 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 bing.
Are you able to see the difference? The ratio of how many of the dull colors are to the vibrant colors?
So weird. Because it's like there's really a stairway to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it really is, because they're lined up. It's lined up in lines. They're in lines.
Lines of rainbow colors?
Lines of the it's the they are rainbow colored. That's life force energy.
Mm-hmm.
The rainbow color is life force energy, which is in all, but it's different in each person.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that are what I would say are more dull. Their lights aren't on. That's what it is. It's like okay, interesting. I can describe it as a stained glass window, and one where it's just dark, but it's still a stained glass window, and then one where you can turn on the lights and see all the beautiful colors. That's what it's like. So the light's not on, and they're numerous because it's interesting because it's a single line.
Mm-hmm.
A single line, and it's very fast.
So they're getting grouped by the...
On. It's like I can't find the end of it. I'm looking for the end of this line, and it's going on and on. Like there's no end to this energy that's not turned on.
So does it look like it can be turned on, or is there not a light in there to be turned on to begin with?
I can't connect with them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't ask anything. They're just there.
And they're grouped together, the duller lights.
They're on a single line.
Mm-hmm.
That goes on and on.
And it's connected to source at the other end?
It's coming back to source.
Okay. What about the brighter colors? Do you see them coming back to source?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How long of a line is that?
There's lines. Well, there's a really short line.
Mm-hmm.
The really short line is, it's like really short. And it's really bright.
So the really bright one is short and the really dull one is long?
And they're all connected.
Mm-hmm.
The short line is almost like they're holding hands, but there's no hands. But it's, they're connected.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no, it's like I said, like a ping pong that's in this, it's like a ball of light energy, but there is a border. There is a border, but you can't see what the shape is. It's just a border. Like it only goes so far, all these lights only go so far out. Like some are more tall and skinny, and some are wider, but I can't say there's a body, if that makes sense. And but there's a short line, and they are connected. Mm-hmm. And the other one is individual balls of energy. And this short line, I don't have to even move. I can stand here and see the end of it. That's how short it is.
And there's lines in between the short one and the long one?
Mm-hmm. There's 7.
There's 7 lines total, and going to each of the dragon heads, nostrils?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
they degree in brightness and how vivid they are?
Yeah, very, very much so.
Wow.
Some are brighter. It's like a light bulb, and you have dim, 20 watt, 40 watt, 60 watt, like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the light bulb's the same color.
I got you. So the brightest is the shortest, and then the dimmest is the longest.
Yeah. There's ones that I don't know if I think it's the line to council. Mm-hmm. And they're the ones that are bing, 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 like they're so full of energy.
Oh, wow.
And they're going to council.
How long is that line?
I can't see the end from where I'm standing. Mm-hmm. I'll go. It's long, but there's an ending.
Mm-hmm. So is it the
Like,
longest line other than the dim one?
uh-uh. No, one is by it is this energy is it's we'll call this short line 100 watt. This is and the other one is flashing light, more like bing, bing, bing.
Mm-hmm.
This one is probably 70,
Mm-hmm.
70 watt if in comparison.
And where does that one go? The flashy one. If the 7 lines go to the 7 dragon heads, where does the council one go to?
The bing, bing, bing lights go to council.
Mm-hmm. Is that the center of the 7 heads or somewhere else?
I don't know, because they're going into the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no sign. It don't have a sign on it's like a door, but there's no sign. It's just that I just know they're going to council. The 70 watt, and I'm trying to see where they're going. They're going to the place of rest.
Mm.
They want to rest.
And that's where one of the dragon heads takes them to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay. When you look at yourself at this point, do you have a form yet?
I have a diamond on my forehead.
Hmm.
And it's like it's almost like a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a unicorn. It's the light that's coming out of my forehead, and I can't see me because it's bright, and it's long, like a unicorn. But I can't see what it's connected to because it's bright.
Do you see any beings around you?
Yeah, I could go in another dragon head is a place of ancestors. And you can go to be with your ancestors if you agree upon that. And it's, I can't go in.
But you know that's where they're going?
I can see in, but I can't. There's a guard at the door.
What does the guard look like?
Everything.
Everything?
I want to say he, but it's all of a sudden like a strong big man, like Zeus, and then next thing you know, I'm looking at the feet, and they're more like hairy feet, and then it's like changing, like the appearance is changing. It's not. He's friendly. I say he looks like a malform at the moment, and it's a fish head. He has a fish head.
Oh, nice. And that's the one that goes through the ancestors?
And I look in there, and it looks really cool, like the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, wow.
It's really magical. It's a magical place.
Very cool. Do you want to explore some of the other dragon heads and see where they go?
Yeah. This one is the place of creation, and it's like you can create whatever you want. It can be whatever you want behind it. It's interesting because it can be whatever you want. Like, if you want, I think this is the short line door. You can decide whatever you want. Like
it's like a playground almost.
You can go and all of them. Like you can sleep for a while and rest. You can create. It's a place of creation. It's a place of creation.
That's beautiful. Let's visit another head and see where it goes.
I can't go in one. I don't know. I can't see.
Is it dark or just blocked from you seeing in?
It's just I can't open it. It's I think it's like a grave tomb.
And which line is that?
I can't. I'm not there anymore. It's gone. It's like disappeared.
Oh, okay. You're all the way gone from the dragon heads?
Yeah, I just totally I wanted to see in that door and I disappeared.
No, it's okay. I guess we got what we needed there. Where are you now?
Oh, the tribe of Judah,
The tribe of Judah?
the lion, and the lion tribe.
Mm-hmm.
I went into the lion's eye.
You're saying the lion tribe of Judah? Is that where you're from?
There's books and laws and nothing. It's script writers.
Mm-hmm.
It's the script writers.
Like they're writing a play?
It's the book of law.
Mm-hmm.
They're writing the laws. They're the law writers.
Mm-hmm.
They write the laws, universal laws.
Can you tell me what they look like?
Yeah, and they're really big heads,
Mm-hmm.
and they look like elongated, big heads, but like humans,
Mm-hmm.
and they're really tall, and very slender and tall, and elongated. Like I gotta look up. Who am I? I'm in the form. I have to be in the form of I'm a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And walking around. That's why I'm in here. I came in as a cat.
Are you a pet or just exploring it?
They think I'm a pet. There's other cats,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like I'm exploring.
So you're blending in with the cats?
Yeah. That's what I had to do to look.
Well, how many of these elongated head individuals are there?
Oh, they're just. It's as if you're walking into the Universal Library, kind of. Like they're just endless.
Do they all look exactly the same?
And it smells like a campfire. That's what it smells like.
Are they burning something there?
It's a time of fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fire age, time of fire. It's just that time period, and they're just writing them, and it's neutral.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel bad. It doesn't feel good. Well, there's the timekeeper.
What does the timekeeper look like? Is that a person or a machine?
It's a door. It's a doorway. It has pine cones on. The pine cones are like a chain, and you pull one, and it keeps the time.
So the pine cones are all around the timekeeper door?
They're on the timekeeper door, and you pull them. I can't go in. I have to wait if somebody opens it.
The chain of pine cones. Can you tell how many pine cones there are?
12.
More than a few. 12?
12.
Does it look like people go in and out of this door often, or no?
No. And there's no doorknob.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if you can just magically walk through the door as a cat, since you're just an illusion. See if you can just pass right through and see what's on the other side.
Space. My head is through it, but if I walk through it, I'll fall.
Mm-hmm.
Fall.
You feel like there's nothing to stand on the other side?
It's just space. It's a door that leads into space. And there's nothing. There's no, it's a trick. It's a safety mechanism. You can't, it's really not, they're tricking me and my vision.
They're tricking you?
Yeah, that's a fake, thing. It's not really what's behind that door. I can't, they won't let me see it.
Is it the elongated head people stopping you?
It's a keeper of time.
Are you able to interact with any of these elongated beings? either telepathically or speaking to them?
They see me.
They think you're just a cat?
Mm-hmm. There's a ruckus at the end.
Mm-hmm.
In a corner. I'm going there.
Okay.
There's a sense of urgency. They're gathered around it, and they're looking. They're looking quickly. They're concerned.
Can you tell what they're concerned about?
An event taking place.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking. They're watchers. They're watching us.
They're watching the Earth?
Yeah. They're concerned. There's an event. It's tilting something. It's going to affect time. That's what it is. It's a shift, but it's a catastrophe in a hard jar.
Mm.
It's a hard shift, and it's fast.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a slow, and what they're looking at is spinning around.
Mm-hmm.
And the blue light,
Mm-hmm.
it's like blue lightning, is when this happens, it pulls away from the Earth's atmosphere. It retracts quickly.
Mm-hmm.
When this happens, it's fast. It's like fast. They couldn't do anything to help.
Mm-hmm.
And the blue up retracted.
And what happens when it retracts? What do you see?
Oh my goodness. We spin in the opposite direction. The Earth.
Mm.
You're stopped and started spinning in the opposite direction. And now I feel it in my body.
What do you see? And what are you seeing, April?
We can't stand. We can't stand. We're all lying down. We can't stand.
Mm-hmm. From the Earth spinning the other way?
Yeah. It's on. I can't get up. I can't get up.
Is everyone down on the ground with you?
I can't move.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being pushed out so hard. I'm stuck. I'm stuck.
Can you tell what's pushing on you?
Gravity. It's a force. I'm stuck. It's holding us here.
Mm-hmm. As it begins to spin the other direction, the gravity should get lighter.
It's not. It's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot move. I can't lift my arms. I can't do anything.
It's almost like you're a magnet stuck.
Yes, it is.
Can you hear or see what's going on around you?
I am stuck. Like, I can't move. There you go.
I wonder if you can shift your perspective and take a look at what's happening just as a point of consciousness and leave your body there and look around. You don't have to be stuck. While your body is stuck there, tell me what you see around you.
Oh, the golden light.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bright. And it's coming. It's raining on us.
Mm-hmm.
It's raining on us.
So it's golden light instead of blue light since the blue left?
Yeah, it's golden. It's definitely golden. It's like sparkling and gold. And it's all over. It's all over everything. It's like the breath of God.
Oh, it sounds beautiful.
It's okay. Summer leaving now.
You said some are leaving?
Mm-hmm.
Other people,
And
you
they're
mean?
going up in the light, yep. but some are going up in the light.
And the others that are left, are they just stuck to the ground still?
For 3 days. We can't move for 3 days.
Oh, wow. What happens after 3 days?
Some go in the light, and it's like, I don't know if we live, or if I'm looking, and the bodies that are going up in the light, I don't know if they lived physically, but I see their whole body going up. I don't know if that's right. Their whole bodies, they're just going up. There's no noise. It's silent. There's no noise.
What about your body? Did you go up, or were you stuck to the earth still?
I'm there still. I'm laying there for 3 days.
Can you see who's with you? Is there anyone else stuck near you?
I can't recognize anyone. It's like I see bodies but no faces.
Just strangers?
No.
What does it look like while you're stuck there? Is it dark or light, or is it just this golden light?
Yeah, the golden light's moving all over everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's a 3-day period. I'm still there for 3 days.
And the ones that go up with the golden light, their whole body and everything goes with them?
Yeah, their bodies are going, and they're being sucked up in it. It may be a ship. It may be a beam of light beaming them up.
Mm-hmm. Do they move around while they're getting beamed up? Just kind of floating up?
It's the same color. Yeah. It's floating, but it's a suction. It's not just floating. It's like sucked up.
But no sound.
And I think they're going in the ship. I can't see the ship because of the light, but it's the same color light. The beam is the same color as the golden light.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a beam, but it's the same color.
Is it blinding white?
It's not blinding, but it's bright, and I guess it could be blinding because you can see the light and things, but if you look at a distance, it's so bright that the image fades behind it. And then now there's the pink sunset. There's a pink sunset. The sun is pink.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is pink now. The water is going in a different direction. Everything's changing. It's a big change over. And it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be okay. It's like the new earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's the new earth. All things are new. It's a reset.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reset. Oh no.
What do you see?
It's a reset, and we gotta do it all over again.
How many times has this reset happened?
77 times 7. Forever. Ongoing. It's fun. Creation.
Yeah.
We keep our knowing. We keep our knowing. So it's not we're not primitive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to see trees. The trees look different, and it's they're smooth, and there's no rough bark on them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's food everywhere.
Mm.
There's berries and lavender.
Mm-hmm.
And this is it's going to take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But for a moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it changed the streams and everything changed.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a moment for it to shift. There's something about spinning the opposite direction, and it's even the water is going the opposite way. And then I see this eyeball in the sky now.
Mm-hmm.
Big eyeball. I'm in it. I'm in the eyeball. Now I'm looking. I see mountains.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm an eagle or something flying, looking. I'm looking over the earth right now.
Mm-hmm.
The new earth. And there's mountains. Oh, wow. There's like this phase pushing through the clouds to look. See, it's got to regrow, and a lot of it is desolate, but it's like I can see this blank void of ashes, but yet I can look again. I said, look again. I look again, and it's these beautiful, vivid colors of plants and nature and everything. But I had to look twice to see that. I had to look again.
So at first glance, it looked like it was ashes.
Just nothing but ashes on the earth. And this spot, I don't know if it's all of it, but I'm looking.
Is the sun still on the horizon?
It's interesting because it's like, it's opposite, and it's like now the force energy is opposite, and it's a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go. I'm being called back, and
Who's calling you?
it's love.
Love?
Loving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's love. It's a love force. It's like my family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Palladian.
Very nice. Is any of your Pleiadian family there to explain why you've been shown this stuff today and to talk with us?
They're pretty nice. It's a female. And she looks like me.
Mm-hmm.
But taller
Mm-hmm.
and bigger. Like a giant.
Mm-hmm. Does she have a name?
I gotta sit. I'm sitting somewhere, and then this yellow golden light, a ball, is going on my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything is lighting up, and it's moving back and forth like the wind's blowing inside my being. And there's a candle.
Mm-hmm.
There's a candle burning inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in a 1930s dress, and I'm looking out a window. And I'm smoking a cigarette.
Mm-hmm. So you're a woman looking out of a window in the 30s, wearing a dress?
I'm wearing a hat with a little a net on the front,
Mm-hmm.
and it's blue,
Mm-hmm.
and I have dark hair, and it's short. I have short hair,
Mm-hmm.
and it's I'm in the city, and I'm waiting for someone.
Mm-hmm. And does it feel like the 1930s?
I think so. I have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Who are you waiting for?
And a lover.
Mm-hmm. How old do you look?
I'm older,
Mm-hmm.
probably 30, something like that. And I have a lot of money, and I have a driver.
Mm-hmm. Is that who you're waiting for?
Yeah.
But the driver's going to take you to your lover or bring him to you?
I'm going there.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what city you're in right now?
It's busy. I mean, I can't see a sign, but there's people everywhere, and there's big buildings, and it's hustle and bustle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in a car.
You're in a car now?
Uh-huh.
Are there cars next to you on the road?
Yeah, it's a big traffic jam, kind of. I'm going to, this hospital.
Mm-hmm. Why are you going to the hospital?
I gotta go see someone. Oh, no. He's a soldier.
Mm.
It's my brother, and he's wounded, and his leg is going to be cut off.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sad. We were going to get married.
Mm-hmm. So you're at the hospital with him right now?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching and telling him I'll still marry someone I know.
Do you recognize this person, this soldier, from your current life?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's Sander.
So you two eventually get married?
He doesn't make it. He dies.
Mm.
He has surgery.
How do you respond to that?
I've become very bitter,
Mm-hmm.
angry, and I seem to smoke and drink
Mm-hmm.
and sad.
Mm-hmm.
I just die
How did you die?
in my bed.
Mm-hmm. While you're in the bed there, I want you to breathe in your last breath as that person and tell me what happens when you leave your body. What did you learn from that life?
Money cannot buy life.
Mm.
Money, alcohol can't bring life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buried by him. Johnny Rue.
Johnny Rowe?
Johnny Rue. R-U-E. I want to say 44. Oh,
That's what the headstone says?
I'm floating away. I'm floating away.
You're floating away. Can you see the headstone?
I passed out.
Mm-hmm. And what happens next?
I'm spinning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And what happens when you start spinning?
Mom. There's a big hole and a light, and I'm going up in it.
Mm-hmm. And what happens when you get into the light?
I'm in line. I just gotta go back again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go back, recycle, I have to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, though. I'm not scared.
Mm-hmm.
I feel love.
Were you able to reunite with your dead lover when you passed on?
He's in a different place.
So you chose not to recycle back in?
Yeah, I'll see him. I'll see him again. We're connected. He's just a brighter. He's brighter than I am.
Mm-hmm. So he was ready to move on to another place, but you needed to do it again?
Yeah. He's just a brighter being.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes back in a different way.
Do you remember going back? What happened after you decided you needed to go back and do it again?
You don't remember. You just go back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a black skin. I have black skin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hungry.
Where are you?
It's dirty. I live in a dirty house. And my father's got whiskey by his
Mm-hmm.
he's sleeping at a recliner. He's in a chair. And he's wearing big overalls. And he's a big man.
What year does it look like to you?
We don't have a vehicle, but there's transportation.
How old are you?
I look small. like 5 or 7 or something. He's sleeping, and there's no one there to make me any food.
There's no mom or siblings?
I don't see anyone. And I can't wake him up. He won't wake up.
Does it look like he's passed out drunk?
Mm-hmm.
Let's move forward in time in this lifetime to the next significant moment. We're going to move forward right now. Be there now. What do you see?
And it looks like I became a school teacher because I'm in front of children teaching.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chalkboard.
How old are the kids?
There, I see the alphabet on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and there's blocks and patterns that I would assume probably young, like 6 or something, 5
Mm-hmm.
or 6, like color, teaching them colors,
Mm-hmm.
like the beginning.
Do any of these students look familiar to you?
There's a little black boy that looks familiar, like he likes me, I help him
Mm-hmm.
with his reading, and I'm kind to him.
Mm-hmm.
He seems familiar. It's Uncle B.
It's Uncle B?
Yeah,
In a different life?
yeah. Because he called me Doo-Doo, Miss Doo-Doo.
When you look around at the other students, do any of the other ones look familiar?
There's a storm coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad, and there's wind.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad, and there's no place to go.
Mm-hmm.
I got all these children and no place to go. I don't have no time. There's no time.
And tell me what's happening.
We all died, I think. I'm looking, but I see my body. It's this building flattened.
Mm-hmm.
We're all buried.
So the building collapsed on you and the children?
Yeah.
As the building collapses and you transition from that life, you see your body lying there?
I see my body, and there's people running.
Mm-hmm. Trying to get away from the storm?
They're coming to get their babies.
Mm-hmm.
Sad. The women are wearing dresses, long dresses. Everybody's sad.
Did Uncle B survive?
I can't see any survivors. Like, we're buried. I see my body because I'm standing over it.
Mm-hmm.
There's little hands sticking up.
Oh.
Everybody's sad. They can't get their baby.
And that is where the session ended. We were disconnected, and April texted me a moment later, or actually a couple of minutes later, because I thought she was taking time to respond, but she had actually disconnected and called me back. I'm going to get April on the line now because I think we need to hear what she thinks of this whole thing. All right, let's call April up. One moment, please.
Hello.
Hey, April, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. I'm just so, listening to that every time I listen to it, which I haven't, honestly, I listened to it once all the way through, but I was, busy doing stuff, and then in parts, I was just blown away, and I just had to sit down, and then now I'm breaking it up in pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I was doing.
Yeah, and listening to it with you guys is like listening to it again, so I'm feeling a little strange right now, but it's all good.
Yeah, it is strange, isn't it? I talked to Sherry about that and others who have gotten to that deep level, and to hear yourself saying things you don't remember saying can be kind of trippy, huh?
Yeah, especially when I know it's so deep because of the whole spider thing. I'm freaked out by spiders, and I don't know where that came from. So that was really weird. And also, the whole thing, I remember the beginning. I remember seeing colors. I remember you asking me to, like, move my mic.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing all these colors. And that's pretty much all I remember. Other than, us chatting. But, like,
Right.
I was going into it. And when I woke up, my bed, I had to, like, wash my bed covers because it was full of sweat.
Wow. And you were dehydrated too, right?
Yeah, I was so thirsty.
That's amazing. Yeah, I was sitting there waiting for you to respond, and I was like, tell me what you see, April, and thinking that maybe you got too deep and fell asleep or something, And then I get a text from you saying, I just woke up in, in a pool of sweat or something you put with a question mark, like, what the heck's going on? It was like 3 hours later, so I bet you were like, what the heck? Did you just hang up and let me fall asleep or what?
I had no idea it was even that long, and I feel like I was reading responses from others, and I feel like it was because Chris was here. My boyfriend knew I was doing it, and he had to go to work. He was leaving soon after. Mm-hmm. So I told him, I said, just, he knows about this. I tell him about things, Mm-hmm. But I don't think he has any idea what it really means. But and I'm like, well, don't disturb me by any means because I'm going to shut the door, and that's how I need it to be because I need to be able to be, fully relaxed. Mm-hmm. But I knew he was leaving in like a half an hour or something, so I had the whole house to myself. And of course I felt 100% trust with you. So it was like, I think that's a big deal, to have that trust. And at 2:00 in the afternoon, which I shared this with you, Shane, I know in my adult age, because I know even when I've had my children, at 2:00 in the afternoon, I get so sleepy, I have to take a 15-minute power nap. Mm-hmm. And if I'm working, I have to, like, really, like, get a cup of coffee or something so I don't just zonk out for 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So this session was, like, right at that time. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's why I was able to get there also, because it was, like, for whatever reason, a natural time for me to just be able to just go completely out. And it's, like, the best nap ever. Right. Like those where you just zonk out.
Yeah.
So I think all that played into it. But as I listen back to it, I'm just blown away as everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing. And I think that's another hint that it was that afternoon nap you're talking about that might have helped you get deeper. Because I know when I have those come on, I get super hot. Like, you just feel this heat come over you when you get that really tired feeling. And a lot of times you'll get sweaty in those afternoon naps. So maybe that did play into it. That's something to consider if somebody's, if you have that time of the day, because I do too. Mine's in the afternoon, just like you. Like usually 2 or 3, because I'd have to watch for my kids to get home, and I'd be like, oh God, I don't want to fall asleep and, miss my kids or something. So I'd have to really like stay really active so I didn't fall asleep. So that might be a tip,
I think it's a really good tip. I'm sure we all do it and the funny thing is as I've grown and everything, I started calling it my download. So even my boyfriend, even Chris knows, oh, it's 2:00 download. That's what we call it, the 2:00 download. Because if we're driving, I'm serious, like, it's like I can't help it. Like, if I'm at work, I seriously have to make sure I have a cup of coffee, and I struggle through it. And it takes me about, from 2 to 3 is a huge struggle for me. But in reality, it's just a 15-minute power nap. Like, if I can go from 2 to 2:15, I just wake up immediately, and it's almost like I had a full night's sleep.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like amazing how rejuvenated you can feel from like 20 or 30 minutes or something.
But I got to say though, I've never been hot with that power nap or sweaty. Just in my experience, you're saying that you get hot sometimes in yours, but I've never
quite like what
that.
you explained, like, waking up in a pool of sweat, but like waking up hot and getting, because normally if I'm laying down, I like the blanket over me, but you have to throw it off and you just feel extra hot compared to normal. So, but yeah, I guess everyone's a little different. But I thought that was strange because I hadn't had anyone say that they woke up sweaty.
Well, now that I know where I was, like seeing the children die, and I guess I mean, you know what? I wish I could elaborate on, when we lost that connection. I wish I could elaborate on what happened there, but I don't remember.
Yeah, or what the purpose of that was to know that. Did you get anything from that?
Well, I was cracking up a little bit because with I've always had a huge fear of storms.
Hmm.
And not now, but growing up, an Uncle B, who I mentioned in there, he was my great uncle by marriage, and my great Uncle B and Aunt Rosie raised me. My mom, like, seriously dropped me off in diapers at their house,
Hmm.
and that it just abandoned me there.
Oh,
And well, I mean, I'm sure they were glad to take me, but
yeah.
um, and they raised me. But I remember having to lay down. He would give me Tums, and I'd had to lay down and put a cold rag on my head and everything if there was a storm.
Mm.
So that just blows me away. And that, no pun intended.
Well, Candace is saying that that's why practitioners have sheets on session sofas and beds. This is quite common in sessions for the talking about the sweatiness. And Atsuko is saying I get sweaty during Reiki sessions sometimes. And Candace said especially during healing. So let's talk about your knee because we haven't even talked about that. You had a knee problem.
Yeah, and my right knee has, I had a cleaning service, a business that I owned for over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was old-fashioned style cleaner. Like, if I clean your house, I wear knee pads, like, soccer knee pads or service knee pads or whatever for floors, and scrub, like, the baseboards and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's why my business was successful, I'm sure. If I didn't see anyone else doing that. But
Right.
because I just made sure I did it right. But anyways, my knee, on my right knee, one time when I was doing a construction clean, and this is before I got the knee pads, this is why I got the knee pads, I, went down on my knees, I was cleaning out this bathtub. Well, there was a screw and debris on the ground. And when I went down on my knee, it hit, it just like hit a certain like right spot. And it has, every time it rains or whatever, it's hurt. It ached all the time. And now I haven't had an ache since. I can wear my
Really?
heels. Absolutely. I can wear my heels. I'm, working at the city job now at City Bank. But even still, I haven't cleaned in I think I gave that up almost 2 years now. So it had nothing to do with, I wasn't still cleaning or anything. But what happened is, like, I'm sure arthritis was setting in because anytime it would go to be rainy or damp, I mean, it was to the point, and me, I think you kind of know me, but I'm an herbalist. I don't like taking any kind of medication, but sometimes it hurt bad enough for me to take Advil because I knew the inflammation was going to do my body more harm than the Advil or the ibuprofen, because it's an anti-inflammatory. So I had to weigh out the evil there, but it hurt bad enough for me to do that. And I didn't even put it together because I didn't listen to the session right away. I didn't even know, like, I didn't listen to it like the next day or something. It was a day or two before I listened to it. And I was sitting out on the front porch where I spend a lot of my time. It's like my sacred space. And I noticed I'm watching it rain. And I noticed that my knee's not hurting. And I'm thinking, well, that is amazing. Thank you, Jesus. I was all happy
Right.
about it. But I hadn't listened to it yet to even connect the light being there on my knees.
Yeah, the light. For those who don't
Yeah.
remember, the golden light was actually in your knee at one point, right?
Yeah, there was a light. I don't know if it was golden or blue or, it's
Right,
all
right,
like,
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so much. It's hard for me to even like talk about because it's so. You know what I mean? It's just so
Oh
hard.
yeah, it's so much information and it's so convoluted that it's like, oh my gosh. And I think a lot of it was symbolic. I wanted to mention a few things that popped up for me because when you were in the brain, and then you talked about this outline of a butterfly, I was like, wait a minute, haven't I seen like a cutaway of a brain and it looks, if you cut it away, like looking from front to back rather than from the side, because from the side creates that sort of eye of Ra sort of shape. But if you cut it, if you look at it, a cutaway of it from the front or the back, the ventricles look like a butterfly. I don't know if you knew that, but it was like you were seeing the ventricles of a brain. So that's
You
one
know,
little thing I
oh
wanted to
my
add to
gosh,
the
it's
brain.
so, yeah, and I just want to hear you talk and you can ask me questions because, like I said, there's so much, symbolism and things in here that I can't, it's like it's going to take me a year to even cipher this. That's why I was just too happy to share because I knew, and I can't see anyone's comments right now because I'm obviously on my phone, but um, I wanted, to share. I wanted you to share. I wanted to make sure that you knew that you could share it, and because I totally trust you, and you know where to share it and where not to, and all that. But
Hmm.
so I could get some insight because, yeah, I'm sure I've read that along the way because I studied the brain,
Hmm.
because of Sugarloaf.
Right.
But it's more. I haven't studied like what the brain looks like or the make of the brain. I've studied more like positive affirmations and how it connects. And, I had to because he has a seizure. So I studied on that and understanding that, but not the actual, what a brain looks like. So I have no idea where that butterfly came from, actually.
Now, one of the things I didn't catch until I was editing it down today, or yesterday and today, was that the soldier that had his legs amputated and died in surgery in that lifetime was your grandson in this lifetime. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. It says
Yeah.
Xander.
Yeah, that's wild. So that really supports the idea that, we all sort of have reincarnated and taken on different roles for experiencing life.
Yeah, what was interesting to me about that was it and I was saying I don't know if this is the event that we have all wanted and talked about, that experience right before that, or I don't know if you edited that and then it just I did I just leave that moment at the event and go right into that lifetime?
Yes, I only cut out. There was a few. There was just dead air. There was a few times when I asked the question and you just continued on. You didn't. It's like you ignored me, and I just took that question out because it made it more confusing. So I removed things like that, but I didn't. For the most part, it's all there. I removed a few stammering parts and things like that to make it easier to understand. But yeah, that was pretty much. I was able to shave off 50 minutes. So just so you guys know, that would have been 50 minutes longer if I hadn't taken out.
Well,
And
you know what? That's what amazed me about it is when I listen to it, it's like, how did I go from the future, from what I gather, the event is what I'm calling it,
hmm.
and back to a past life?
Hmm.
It was so weird. It was like I instead of starting off with past life, I ended with past life. But I
Yeah.
was in the future to start with, and that was one of the things I'm thinking. What was that about? I don't know if it was because I was just coming back,
Hmm.
like from there, and then it was like I, was exploring these past lives. But yeah, so Xander, for those who don't know, Sugarlips has cerebral palsy and he's wheelchair bound in this life.
Hmm.
And it just, I can't help but to cry on that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's so touching and it's really amazing. And the cool thing is, I did one, and we'll get into this more later, me and T. Taylor, because I recorded it, and we'll probably both share it on our channels or whatever. But what she got today, like, really blew my mind because she got that whole event section. She got it in a different way. So she's she sort of broke people down into four different categories: those who are most ready to go, most aware of what's happening, and then a next group that sort of feel what's happening, but they're not quite aware of it, but they sort of feel it. And then those who are totally unaware. So there's those three groups. And then a fourth group who I believe just don't want to, they just want to split off. They don't like the feeling of the new earth or the new energies, and they will be taken off to another planet to live out their 3D experience in a quicker way, is how she was explaining it. But when she was explaining it, this is what's so cool. She explained that whole section where you were stuck to the ground. She talked about those people. Instead of saying they were stuck to the ground, she said the people were on the ground for up to 3 days. She said it could be shorter, 2 days in her vision or her session. But the people on the ground were in stasis.
3 days? She said up to 3 days. Oh, wow.
Yeah, they actually said it was originally 3 days, but some people will be able to integrate it in less time. I'm just sort of paraphrasing. We'll get more into it with T. Taylor. But yeah, it's basically the people that were stuck to the ground were in stasis. So that's why you couldn't move. You were sort of, paused, if you will. So you couldn't move until I gave you the suggestion to leave your body there and come out of it and look around. The other cool thing is, the ones that were in, some of the ones in the second group would go with the first group and be on the ground, but some of the second and some of the third group, or all of the third group, I guess, were taken up to be, I guess, what was the word? It was like an energetic healing and it sort of goes with the healing domes that Angela spoke about, Angela Gabrielle.
I am so humbled and amazed by that part, because when you're saying she described that, and then I see the people and I said it's probably a ship. I mean, I am the same as everyone else who just listened to that. I want everyone to know that. I know no more, and that's what's hard for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know no more than anyone else. I feel like I am somebody who just listened to that, honestly.
Right.
I
like that,
more
how you
insight.
said that. That's my voice, because you don't remember saying it. That's great.
Yeah, it's my voice, but, and that's the funny thing is seriously, when I listen to it and I'm listening to it with y'all, I know no more than anyone else. I have to research it. I've been looking bits and pieces up, and that's it's made me a believer when people say they don't remember. Not that I didn't believe people, but now I've experienced and I can say firsthand, this is my truth. I'm listening to it with you, and so I wish I had more insight than I do. That's kind of disappointing, actually.
I think, there's a couple of things. One is another confirmation I wanted to bring up while we're on sort of other sessions that have said the same thing. I had another session where they said, get ready when you see the rivers flowing the opposite direction. The time is at hand, or something along those lines.
Oh,
and then you talked about the water at that time of the event flowing backwards. And I was like, what? You got to be kidding me, because I didn't release that information, And then you said it, and then, of course, T. Taylor today said some of the other aspects of what you saw. And I'm like, this is amazing. I can totally see how Dolores Cannon wrote these books, because I'm sure she was blown away. I'm getting chills right now just thinking, the goosebumps.
My nose is itching.
Yeah. So you could see why it was hard for her to, she sees all these similarities between these sessions between people that don't know each other. And it's like, wow, you're in awe, because you realize there's something much bigger than us taking place. And it's a benevolent agency, if you will.
And I'm thinking, when you said backwards, and not to interrupt it, there's so much to cover and it's so juicy. Yeah. But when you said, when I said, and you just reminded me I said it, about the rivers flowing backwards. But remember the spiders? And I'm really blown away by this whole spider experience. And I know it's not a spider. I feel like I feel like my higher self, in order to explain it to me, must explain it in images, because that's how I'm going to get it. Our communication, her communication with me, or he, she, whatever, is through imagery, because that's my form of communication. So I really don't know if there's these spider beings. I'm not trying to say there's a race of spiders. I think it's symbolic, but if you remember, I'm under the spider looking, and the web is spinning the opposite way, it's coming out the opposite way that it's spinning or something. I'm trying to explain that.
Yeah.
And that's so interesting to me. And the blue light.
Yeah. which has come up in several sessions. I think Michelle Wolf described the blue light in the inner earth that was expanding outward, and Allison Coe had a session where actually that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. When you talked about the lightning storm in the water, there is someone who had, I'm not sure how much of this is public yet, but one of the people that Allison Coe did a session on is actually working on something that is like electricity in water. And it's supposed to be, it came up in a session that the thing he's developing was going to help change the world, that there was another one on the inner earth, and together they were going to activate each other, one another, these plasma balls or whatever they are. So it was just interesting that it all came up that
Plasma
way.
balls? Do you think that's the ball and it's all come up?
Yeah, it could be.
Ball. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That's so juicy.
Yeah, now like okay, so this is what I saw on the filter. We called it the head filter, the discernment fiber optic ball that sort of went inside your head and was on your head, and it was, for those who don't remember, it was breaking things up and pulling things out and replacing it. And I saw that as maybe symbolic of the session itself, like it was sort of breaking up old ideas and replacing it with new ones and giving you the discernment to see through, I guess, all of the, all of the stuff that surround all of the worldviews and stuff. I mean, like, you've come from religion, Christianity, like me, and sometimes it's hard to unravel the man-made religion from the actual spiritual information, and that's sort of what we've been doing as we sort of move away from religion and try to figure out, the truth of it all. And I kind of thought that's what that discernment, Christ consciousness filter on your head was.
I agree. And like I said, I'm still on the fence.
Yeah.
Not to take that from you, but in all honesty, I really am still on the fence about all of this, because I really haven't. On some parts, I can say, yeah, I've come to the conclusion of, like, sugar lips. I've come to the conclusion of, yeah, that just fits. I say it out loud. Uncle B, I say it. But some of the other stuff, I'm still looking up and studying, and I haven't come to a conclusion of yet. But with that, the seven-headed dragon and what I thought was my truth at the time of Revelation, I haven't broken that back apart yet. But of course, when you first become a Christian, that's the first book you read, because it's all scary and stuff. But it's like, yeah, because it'll scare everything out of you. You don't want to be like perfect. But was the nation, the seven nations. Yeah. I never have ever thought of that being the way it was described from my higher self. I mean, obviously. So that was something to me that was a confirmation that only I could relate to. Yeah. I can share it with you guys, but like a Mandela effect, like that was personal to me.
Yeah.
Because I know what I thought I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, I want you to carry on with what is aligning with others, because that's bringing me great comfort.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, excuse me, the spiders and the webs were symbolic only because later on in the session, when I asked you if the webs connect us with the earth, or if they're, asked you about that, you said we are the web. So then that made me realize that, okay, we're not talking about real spiders, doing real webs. I think we're looking at something, because if we're webs, that's clearly a symbol. So I think the spiders are a symbol of something else that I don't know, but I don't think it's really spiders, but I think it was just showing, just maybe are spiders like hive mind? I don't really know. Maybe it's showing that they're all in one accord, doing the job, and they're on their mission. They're humanitarian.
Well, I kept saying that they were not benevolent, but I kept saying they were humanitarian.
Yeah.
And that was interesting to me. And then I can now tell my children, I really do have eyes in the back of my head. I told you. I did.
Yeah. So after listening to it, do you understand why I wasn't able to get to any of your questions?
Yeah, and that was so. The most hilarious thing is, and I mean, is I keep wanting these questions answered, and it's like I'm on this quest. I mean, I've done sweat lodges, I've Yeah, you know that in the Bible it says jump in and out of the Jordan 7 times to cleanse
Mm-hmm.
yourself. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've done whatever I can think of doing to try to get these questions answered, but I always go somewhere else. And remember, and I was upset. I was really upset because I paid all this money for my astrology reading, which now I know wasn't even my real astrology and my truth now, because I totally believe in the sidereal astrology, because I actually go on and I see the stars on the time of my birth, and I'm totally triple Taurus instead of triple Gemini.
Oh, okay.
So I know, like, I need to get, like, dark highlights and glasses now because I'm smart. And before it was just funny. But it's like all these things, and I was so upset with this astrologist because she said, well, you're not meant to know all that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? That's my quest in life, is to know this. And it seems like every time I try to sneak it outside of myself, I go somewhere else. But to me, it was a higher importance, and that I set that intention. I did. I don't know if any of this matters, but I'm just saying some people are able to get there, and some people aren't. My routine was for that day. It was a very sacred day for me, for you to give me that session. I took it very seriously. Well, honestly, I thought I was going to get my questions of my whole life answered. So, I like taking this, I took an Epsom salt bath, put all my lotions and potions on, did everything I knew, lit candles, was burning incense, everything a girl can do,
Mm-hmm.
to get it right. And then I still end up on a universal level.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, to me, it's more amazing because honestly, in my heart of hearts, I already know I'm more about the team than I am about me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I really am. Like, I don't care. Like, we played this game at work today at Citibank, like, trivia game.
Yeah.
I could care less if we won, but my team wanted to win, so that's why I gave effort.
Right.
So I feel like that is really a part of who I am. Like, I'd rather be about universal things and things that are going to help everyone, humanity, versus just myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you feel like, do you view dragons as negative or positive?
Well, you're going to, like, freak out and do the boogie dance on this. And I didn't even think of it until just now. But my grandson, Baby Hoyt, and he's named after the bow and arrow compound bow Hoyt brand, because his dad's a big hunter and his mom shoots the bow and arrow. We're like backwoods kind of group.
Mm-hmm.
And he loves putting these like lizard. He's the little kid that's bringing you a snake, saying, "Look what I got," or a frog, and and he loves like reptiles and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. Well, I had asked his mother for Christmas last year. I said, I want to check with you and be in honor and respect of you, but I really feel like he would do great with like a lizard, a pet lizard. Like, because I had a curly tail lizard, Laurence and Lavenda. I had these lizards when I was little. And I'm like, he loves like picking up frogs and stuff so much, And she goes, well, we're just not ready yet. I'm like, okay. But when you are ready, and I respect that because she just had another baby, and all this. I said, when you are ready, I want the gift of being able to take him to go pick one out. Well, we're going actually Sunday, but, the one he wants is actually called a dragon. It's I can't think of the name. Not the curly-tailed dragon, but it's called a dragon. And it's a pet dragon. He's going to have a little pet dragon, but you can carry him around on your shoulder and everything, It's kind of like an iguana, but it's not that one. So you can look at chat. Somebody will look it up, I'm sure.
Right.
But
A gecko or?
No, it's not a gecko. It's bigger. I'll think of it as we're talking. But so she and I was so happy that Megan honored me with that for him, because she goes, oh, guess what? I went to my friend's house. They had a baby lizard, and he loved it so much. It was like climbing on him, and he loved it. And so I looked up the best pet for, a child his age and blah, blah, blah. And it was this dragon.
Mm.
And I don't know why. So you're asking me, do I have a fear of dragons? Well, at one time, I would have, if something has horns on it, I'm always thinking of the devil, but not anymore. And how you were saying how you filter and you change your thoughts and belief systems, that's so true with the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Because the dragon, like the serpent of old, the dragon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he took his tail and took 1/3 of the stars or the angels. Remember that part?
Yeah.
The dragon fell and he took 1/3 of the stars. Well, now I see it's like completely a different contrast. It like blows my mind. And I never listened to Bill Donahue until the first time I listened to Bill Donahue is when I sent you the text and you said, "Oh yeah, I love him." And I'm thinking, why didn't you tell me about him? This is BS. Like, what? I just discovered him, and you already knew about him, and you're just now telling me. So I'm just now catching up on all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's blowing my mind, but it makes so much more sense than anything I've ever heard. So I do not have a fear of dragons. When I was taught from Christianity, the serpent and the dragon were evil.
Mm-hmm.
But now in the state of mind, I have no fear. And especially even now, even more so. So it's kind of interesting. I had that vision of dragons, and now I'm going to go buy the dragon for my grandson.
Was it a bearded dragon?
Yeah, it's a bearded dragon. Absolutely, that's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Jane said bearded dragon, ? So, but I was thinking...
Yes, thank you.
I mean, I was just thinking the symbolism used... Because it really doesn't, it was just the symbol of the mechanism in place, the 7 rays of, just where people are at, moving and getting recycled and going their different ways. And a dragon was maybe just symbolic of, I'm sure at that higher level it's not really anything that we can conceptualize. You know what I mean? So it was just sort of given to you in a way that, was just symbolic of what's happening.
Yeah, I feel like in my higher self, for my art or form of communication is definitely going to be through imagery, and then I have to cipher it, which I love. I'm so glad. I'm kind of upset that I just don't know it, but I love to research and study, and I'm sure my higher self knows that because it's part of me. So it's like, like this is it. This is how you're going to do it. But at the same time, if you remember the nostrils, because I've been like picking this apart like word for word. So the nostrils is a vapor going in and out. So that made sense to me. Like, oh, the nostrils is a vapor, and I believe that like it's a vapor. I don't know how to describe that, but that made sense to me.
Yeah.
And also a part in the session that gave me confirmation is when I died, and with the military, from drinking or whatever, from sadness. You said, where do you go when you leave your body? And I said, I'm standing in a line.
Yeah.
I got to go back. And then I say, I'm not bright enough, like Xander, who, wasn't my husband's name at that time, but you asked me about my husband.
Right.
Is brighter than me. Well, that confirmed what was said before, which totally blew my mind. Because how could that happen? Unless it, you know what I'm saying? It was like, oh my gosh, like.
Yeah. You were waiting in the line to the dragon, then you're saying, and you were in a less bright line.
Yeah, I didn't say the dragon, but I said I'm in a line. Right, and you said, is your lover, I think you said lover, is he your dead lover? I forget your question, but is he there with you? And I said, he's brighter than me.
Right.
And that confirmed what was said before, and that just was confirmation for me as I'm listening to it. Like, I've made note of that. Like, oh my gosh, that's confirmation, because I'm still trying to break apart that, the whole, like, some are brighter, some are dull, that kind of thing. I'm still trying to break the contrast apart. And then when T. Taylor, didn't she mention something about, like, I don't think she said, did she say colors or levels of energies? Like, how...
I don't know. I'll have to...
You said...
She can chime in. She's here.
Yeah,
But
tell her to chime in, like, on what she thought about. I don't think she used the brightness or a bit. There was something about density or something.
right. Yeah, I think. Well, I know she had classified them into the 4 groups, and I know the bottom group went to get, you know, taken care of off planet for a while and then brought back. And then the what you would term the dim ones were just taken away. We didn't. It wasn't even in your vision in that portion of it where the event was happening. They were sort of just taken away. I think in her session it was they would either die of sort of natural causes, you know, die naturally, or they would get taken away to another place and I guess would appear to be dead or something to the people that are here, or people would know they got left. I can't really remember how it worked out, but
So this is T. Taylor. So does she? And I was trying to catch up and read, but then some moments I would just be like in awe of, you know, when you hear yourself, and I'm sure T. Taylor is going to experience this or has if she's listening to the recording. It's like, you know, it's your voice, but when you don't remember it, it's really a strange feeling. It really is. And I know Sherry experienced that, and it's like, because I want to remember this, because I think it's so freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to say, yeah, I remember this, and this is what it means, but I don't.
Yeah.
And it just blows me away. So I didn't know if she remembers her session or parts of it.
She remembered at least part of it. She has to listen to the recording to make sure she didn't miss something. And that happens often where people are like, wow, I don't remember this part, but I remember, you know, like they're sort of in and out of it. Because you're sort of like on that edge, you know, when you're in it. So I guess you can dip down a little bit deeper and, you know, it's just different people react differently. But I do want to say right now that you don't have to go to somnambulistic level to get the information. It's a rare thing people go that deep, but everybody always seems to get what they need, even if they don't get anything. Maybe they're not ready, you know. But I think, you know, I would, if I were you, I would probably come away with more questions than answers after this. It's like, wow, I went to get some questions answered, and all I have is a bunch more questions. I mean, you got the nose twitching thing you asked for, but we really didn't get to anything else.
Thanks. This is not a joke. I mean, really, my nose twitching, my nostrils start flaring out and twitching real fast.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of hoping for something cooler, but I think the joke's on me with that one.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? You wanted a sign. Here you go. Okay, so let's talk about the dim line, the really long line you couldn't see the end of, and it was like their lights were off. Now, of course, you're speculating like anyone else who listened to it because you don't remember it.
I am. I'm totally trying to gather it, you know?
Yeah. Do you think, what's your feeling with that? Is that the backdrop people Dolores Cannon talks about? They're sort of just the shells, but maybe, I don't know if they're, I don't know. What do you think about that part?
Honestly, I'm on the fence. Like, I'm researching it. There's so much in this session. You know, you can imagine if it came out of your mouth and you don't remember it, then you're really going to cipher it, you know, like, and you know, because it's like, maybe no one else believes this, but I'm telling you, like, I'm listening to it and thinking, oh my, like, what does this mean? And that's why I was so happy for everyone to, you know, I want to glean all these sites that people have given. I'm so thankful for my tribe for that, because that's what I really wanted to, is to explore it. But I haven't come to a conclusion, but that does resonate with me as backdrop people, or, you know, non-players.
Characters.
What do you call them? NPCs, yeah, non-player characters. And, you know, hearing it was just, it was so like, oh my gosh, so profound, right, when I'm hearing it. And that's kind of the avenue in which I'm taking, but I still got to say I'm not 100% there.
Right. How did you feel before the session about the idea of an NPC? Did you think, I don't think that's probably true? Or how did you feel personally about it?
Well, I can say for a fact that it makes sense to me. Because I was trying to wrap my head around it, and then I think Eileen, and I maybe I'm wrong, Eileen, on this, so I don't want to quote you or misquote you, But I feel like in one of her videos or something, she went on a different route of not believing that.
Right.
And I thought, it just doesn't make sense to me either. Like, and I was trying to think of Chris, like, being that way because he didn't know anything, and then now but he gets things so fast. And then I think of others. I think about it all the time, and it just didn't make sense to me because I believe that God is in everyone and everything, like the flowers and the tree, everything. So I've never really been able to believe that 100%. I thought it was interesting and juicy, right? Like, that's interesting.
And it makes sense too, when you think about it. And I was totally with you on board with Eileen, and I think that the danger in it is like to have that information, the whole idea of understanding that maybe there is backdrop people or NPCs. I think you have to have a certain level of awareness, because if you don't, then you switch and think, well, they're not important, they're not real, I can treat them however I want. And if that's the case, you're not ready for that information, because I think the higher way of looking at it is to see these people were put here to challenge us, and we need to love them through whatever they're doing to us. And it's just like a game. That's why I think NPC is a great analogy for it, because in a game, the NPC is there as the adversary, the Satan, if you will, in the game to make it, because if there's no opponent, it's not much of a game, you know what I mean? So they're there to challenge us, to try to trigger us, and our job is to learn to rise above that. They're the secret shoppers, if you will. They need to be loved. They need to be treated like anybody else. So when you say their NPCs are not real, it's not like you can just treat them like trash, because, that's the whole thing here is to learn to love through anything.
Yeah, and I feel like, I guess that's how exactly I feel like it's making someone lesser than or not, that they don't matter, and I don't believe, it doesn't work with my belief system, because
exactly, yeah.
I believe every single thing matters. But this is interesting. Not last weekend, but a couple weekends ago, my soulmate niece, we were like bosom. I'm telling you, I wasn't in her life as she was growing up due to circumstances and divorce and separation. My sister had her dad is a preacher, and it's just the way we come together. She's a mini me. She's my mini me. I wish one of my daughters was, but ends up being Fifi as a mini me. And she's starting to discover all these things about herbs and plants, and she's an RN. And I inspired her to become an RN because the first time we really connected, she came to my little herb shop, and I did iridology on her and was able to help her with things doctors never could help her with. And then she started studying that, and I'm like, well, there's, as far as that path goes, if you want to make money, become an RN and then go for naturopath afterwards. But anyways, yada, yada, yada. Well, she comes up a couple weekends ago because she's now wanting to have chickens and in her backyard, and so we go to get these baby chicks. Well, the person that waited on us was like a freaking robot. There was no connection at all, and I hadn't told her about this. I've given her a book by David Icke a couple years back, and it blew her mind so bad that she started questioning her life like we all do.
Right.
When we're awakening, like, am I real? Is this real? Is this something like, And I should have started her off with something else, because I'm thinking I didn't start with that book. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was too much too fast. And I told her, just put it to the side. When you're ready for it, read it again. But anyways, I didn't share with her that, oh my gosh, here is, when I was looking at the scroll, she had empty eyes, she had all the symptoms of one, and I knew it. So you're asking me how I feel about, well, a couple of weeks ago, I knew it. I thought, oh my goodness, this is what one is like. They don't have a clue about anything. I'm like, well, you know how to tell a hen from a rooster? No. Do you know if they lay brown eggs or white eggs? No. Can you hold the chickens for us until we come back? We're going to go to a greenhouse and pick up some herbs. How long will you be? Like, it was so weird that even Chris and Fifi's boyfriend came along too, right? We all left, and I'm like, this is the worst customer service. And Fifi goes, it was like they didn't even have a soul inside of them. So she said it, and I'm thinking confirmation, but I didn't tell her why. I was thinking because I didn't want to blow her mind, because right now she's doing chickens and herbs. She's on that level.
Right. But yeah, I think that's the perfect time to realize that is when you're when you can take that information and turn it into something to make you not get triggered, to realize that they're put here to trigger you and to, challenge us basically, and that they're not just, we shouldn't treat them like trash, but it just helps us understand why sometimes maybe we can't get through, or why, like you're talking about, where people seem to be soulless or hollow. And I think that's when you think of humans as like a physical vessel here, and then we're discussing whether it's filled with like a soul or not, is it running soulless or is it running around with a soul? I think it was Cosmic Agency that talked about someone that is soulless today might have a walk-in tomorrow. So that's another reason why it's important that we always treat everyone with love, because, even someone that's here today might be an empty vessel tomorrow, but they're still like on autopilot. And I think even sometimes we're taken out and taken care of and then put back in our body. So I think that when you look at it like that.
I think what it comes down to is, it's like, okay, this is kind of controversial, in a way, but honestly what it comes down to is, we shouldn't have to know whether they're real or not, because if we're walking in agape love, truth, and light, it won't even matter if they're real or not.
Exactly.
Because we are going to be that. We're going to show up to that. It's kind of like somebody was talking to me about this abortion law in Ohio got passed, and it was like now it's against. Now you can't have an abortion for no reason, and if you do, blah blah blah. But you really can. You can leave the state. All this BS. I said, the bigger question to me is, who even thought of killing the baby inside of you? Like, that's the bigger question to me. Like, you know what I mean? Why are we even discussing this? Why are we even thinking, like, oh, well, that's alive or not alive? I mean, to me, that's the biggest question in my life. Like, why are we even talking about this? Why is there a debate on it? Like, where did this even come from? And they're like, wow, where did it come from? I'm like, that's my question. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's my little input for the day. But it's the same thing with the non-player. Like, the little gal, she was the MC. And even Fifi said it out of her mouth, and she has no idea what this is. There's no label in her eyes to this, right?
Right.
She just recognized it with confirmation. But at the same time, it's not going to take away from my walk and love, truth, and light. You get what I'm saying? Like, why?
Definitely.
It shouldn't trigger us, because it's just not who we are. It's not that you have to try to think. Well, in my experience, it's not like I go around thinking, I shall not be triggered by anyone or anything. It's just not even that. It's just because you have so much love. It's like, it's just not going to.
Yeah, so I understand Eileen's point of view because of exactly what you're saying right there, because I think it's a slippery slope. It could lead to people treating people differently. I think really the only way it's beneficial is, when we feel triggered by someone, to realize, are they just triggering me? That sort of brings things back to an awareness of the intention of the person, or maybe the fact that they're here to specifically trigger us, and teach us, hey, you just got triggered. How can you respond differently? So I think of them as portals, actually. So I think if there are these NPC type characters running around, I think at any point, if any of us need intervention or help, an angelic being can hop into one of these beings. It's like a portal. They can come and perform some angelic task. I'm not saying they need a physical form, but I'm saying that I've seen things happen that lead me to believe that, this person that might seem soulless for a moment might be occupied to do some small task, and then the angel leave. And it reminds me of one of the scriptures that you might remember, where it said, you never know if you're entertaining angels or something like that. Do you
it's in Hebrews. I want to say Hebrews 10, but don't quote me on that, because I'm a little rusty. But where it says, you never know if you're entertaining angels unaware.
Exactly. So that's the whole NPC thing. I think, you never know if an angel hops in there and you're treating them like they're nothing or trash, and, you're actually you're attacking a host, an angelic host, possibly. So I think, we need to play it safe and just treat everyone with love. And that's sort of what came out in my session, is that if you can stay in love, everything else gets taken care of. It's sort of natural.
Yeah, and it's not even, it's a byproduct. It's like
Exactly.
doing the right thing is a byproduct of what some would say a sin or missing the mark or lowering your energy level.
Mm-hmm.
You know, doing the right thing is the right thing to do. That's all there is to it. If you're doing the right thing, you're not doing the wrong thing. And it's like, if there's a right or wrong, you say, but if you're walking in love, there's love and fear, in my experience, the truth. So if I'm walking in love, I'm not walking in fear. When you're walking in fear, you're more apt to be, I've had experience with people walking in fear, and I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
They're suspicious of everyone. They're like, that's where all these, which I very much, I think, conspiracy theories, because they're definitely a foundation that led me to where I am today. So no negativity on conspiracy theories. But at the same time, when you're walking in fear, everything's a conspiracy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like,
everybody's out to get you. That victim mentality sets in, is what it is.
That's walking in fear. When you're walking in love, you don't, even if somebody's like not doing good service for you and you're out and you're being waited on, if you're walking in fear, you take it personal. And you're like, man, they don't think I'm good enough for, they didn't give me the dinner menu. They didn't think I could afford it. They gave me the lunch menu, whatever. Right. But if you're walking in love, you're like, wow, that person's having a bad day. How can I uplift them?
Exactly. Yeah, that's so true. And I've seen it happen where you have I've used the example of a waitress coming to a table, and one realizes the person's having a bad day and it's not directed at them. The other one takes it all personally, and they have two completely different experiences from the exact same thing happening. So it's really our perspective, our awareness that, even in the car, I have to use that all the time. Well, maybe they're on the way to the hospital. Maybe that's why they cut me off. Or you never know what's going on. So if you can respond in love, because, who would feel bad? You're flipping somebody off and they're just trying to get their wife to the hospital because she's in labor or something. And you know what I'm saying? There's so many things that could be happening with other people. And if we just, treat them with love, then none of that stuff really matters. You don't need to know what's going on.
Well, and the thing is if you're in that love vibration, you're not even going to think about, what you're going to think about is, how can I help them?
Yeah, exactly.
How can I bring them up? Like, I've been there, I've had one of those days, and what can I do to uplift this person? Like, when you're walking in love, you're not even judging how they're treating you. You don't care how they're treating you. You're thinking, wow, they're having a really bad day, and, how can I help them? Right? Would you agree? So it's not even in your consciousness. You're not even thinking, are they real or they're not real, or they, I did think the little chicken gal. I'm thinking, girl, we got to get you in a different department.
Yeah.
I just want to say, honey, you just go back over to your register. I'll handle this. At the same time, it's like, that's really how it is in life. If you think about it, if somebody cuts you off, you're thinking, if you're in love, you're thinking, oh, Lord, I've seen so many people drive dangerously. Mm-hmm. And when I'm in love, I'm not saying I'm in love all the time. I have fear in my own life, I'm not even saying that. But I recognize it now as fear. I'm like, oh, that's fear-based mind. Like, I need to, how can I move this into a love-based? Like, and I do my whole little thing I do. But they're cutting me off and going crazy. And you know what I do? I put the gold number of light to the eighth power from infinity and back. So it covers everything for that person, so they don't cause an accident or they're not in an accident. Because I'm thinking, your daughter, your wife, whoever wants you to come home tonight. So let me put this ball of light around you. I'm not thinking, oh, you just cut me off. I'm thinking, oh, they need safety. Yeah. They need safety. And maybe that's why they're put in front of me. Because I'm gonna pray for them that way or intend that way, like the gold number light to. This is just stay on there. I do the gold number light to and from infinity, including the planetary aspects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I eliminate all BS. If somebody says your Saturn is like, something against your Oogie, I'm like, no, it ain't, because I live in harmony.
Yeah.
So think about it, like if you do to and from infinity, you're covering everything. I think it is deep, but it's everyday life. But when we're talking about I'm just blown away. Like, you know, as we're sitting here talking about the, you know, the dragon heads, and you were saying the ones, it's like it's so weird, Shane, because I draw a blank. I have to go back and listen to it again.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing. I'm trying to think, like, you know, what did I say about the ones? They were duller, like they were duller.
And I specifically asked you as well. I'm like, so they're the same but dimmer? And you said, no, they're completely different. And that's what led me to the NPC route over just someone that's asleep. You know what I mean?
Okay, see,
Yeah.
and I have to go back and really decipher that. It's so weird because I'm the one who said it, but I don't know what I said.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I really don't. And it's like, I'm trying to put my, you know, remember that, and I cannot, like, right now, if you ask me what I said there, I cannot remember other than how I'm doing what everyone else is doing, writing things down and looking it up for myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way it's in my memory. It's not in my memory from the experience itself. It's just not.
Another thing I realized is that you said Johnny Rue and 1944, which I think is enough information that, you know, with some searching, maybe something could be found. I don't know if they were in the military.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up, Johnny Rue. But the thing is we'll have to do it nationwide because did I put where it was? I don't.
No, I tried to get the location out of you. I felt like New York for some reason, old New York, but I don't. You know, it could have been Chicago.
My gosh,
or any
that's
big
the
city.
same thing. When I said hustle and bustle, the first thing that came to my mind as I'm listening to it now with y'all was New York.
Yeah.
So maybe we should check it out because. You know, and I just thought hustle and bustle, and it was really busy, and I thought New York, too.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So that's something you could look into. Another thing I wanted to go back to is at the beginning when you had the cute little fuzzy workers in the mind. I think that might have been perhaps another perspective of the part of it where the Christ consciousness went on your head or whatever. Maybe this was showing, only because there was some part where you said they're waiting for the return. They had drilled the hole and created the space, created the conduit, if you will, because that's sort of like a hole or a tube, right? And they were waiting for something. And then finally the Christ consciousness shows up, perhaps. You know, that's what I was thinking. They were, just because you used the term, they're waiting for the return, I believe is waiting for the return.
What gets me is okay, and this is going on from my notes, but, and I may be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the little hands that are turning it, and then all of a sudden it gets hard to turn because didn't I start going the opposite way?
Exactly.
And then I could see but at first I could always see hands.
Mm-hmm.
So in my thought, it's a different level. Like at first I don't know if they're the same beings or not, that was turning it one way, and then when it was going the other way, I could see their body, and I think their hands were different. But I can't remember. Like I said, I got to pick it apart, you know. And I would agree something's coming. But then there was that optic ball that came up. Maybe that was Christ consciousness. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, that's. Or was that? Did that end up being Webb? I'm trying to remember because
I don't know.
Yeah, it's so hard to follow. But just overall, I just felt like, I don't know. I felt like it was an amazing session. You know, even though I did have more questions afterwards, it still gave me insight into exactly. I think one instance would be when you were describing the tells on these little creatures, and you were explaining it for a long time before you realized that they were like little drills, right? And it was like, I just feel like if your brain was making that up, it would have known it was the drill the entire time. You wouldn't have had to discover that. You know what I mean? So that to me validates that, you know, you were seeing something.
Was that the same creature that didn't have that? Here's where I'm confused. I re-listening to that. Yeah, I agree. Like all of a sudden there's drill. It was like in real time.
Yeah.
That's what blows my mind. I mean, it all is like in real time, which of course it should be, but nobody knows what I'm talking about unless you do it.
Yeah.
you're like so freaked out about it, you know. So if it was in real time, I don't know, but what I'm confused on with the little creatures and the wheel spinning and what's coming up is Are they two different beings or the same being? Like, I still have that question.
Oh, okay.
And do you? Or do you think they're the
I
same
felt like they were the same the whole time. You were just seeing more of them, but I guess the hands did
Okay,
change a little
okay.
bit, didn't they?
I don't know. I know I described 3 fingers, but I don't know which one it was on. So I took a note of 3 fingers, but now I want to go back and listen to it again and be like, okay, because then I see their body, but then I don't see my body, so I think I'm observing them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like it's so it's like, okay, you can't, even if I wanted to, I couldn't make that up. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, it's impossible.
Oh yeah, it's so wild. It's like, yeah, you were delivering it in real time, and I mean, even if someone was trying to come up with something like that, like just pretend, just make up a bunch of stuff, it wouldn't have been like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, and then what's the keeper of time? And pine cones? There's
Yeah.
pine cones on the door, and I'm a cat, and I'm like, I am like, oh my gosh, and it was like I went from, I don't know, like I want to have another session, but at the same time, I want to like wait and let you have sessions with other people
Mm-hmm.
like you are and see what we can glean. And I love the fact that you're able not to release the information until you have confirmation of, like, it seems like 3 or more on certain things.
Yeah.
You know, and like T. Taylor, knowing that so she experienced the part, like I'm laying on the ground and can't get up.
Yeah.
Like that, and you did a great job of getting me out of there, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Like, seriously, you knew how to, like, okay, well, you're not there, so let's just move on. You know what I mean? It's like,
It just intuition. I just kind of get there with you, and like I don't know, it just came to me. So I think it's important that you know that the practitioner sort of tries to get into a meditative state and get into at least the alpha state where they can still use their left brain to analyze things, because they're trying to act as your left brain so that you can stay in your right brain at more of the, you know, intuitive part. And I think, you know, it's helpful, you know, because sometimes you'll get stuck if you're, you know, what do you do? You're stuck. I'm stuck. I don't know what to tell you, but you know, anything's
right, and I
possible.
saw, it just proved to me of how safe you are, and it was just natural and smooth. This isn't practice. This is, I didn't know what I was getting into. Now, I will say, you know, I knew what I was getting into. I've studied on it, so it wasn't like I didn't have knowledge of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the experience went, and then I will say this, so my boyfriend has not heard my session.
Mm-hmm.
And he's actually intrigued by it because he's asked, when are you going to let me hear your session? And
Oh, really?
Well, as soon as I got a down payment on a new place to live.
Well, I got you the shortened version. I emailed it to you, so you can listen to the version. You won't really be missing anything. I think there was one point where you were looking through the spider eyes, and you said it was like the all-seeing eye, and you could see anything. And I asked for you to look at Xander, your relationship with Xander, and then so I like cut that part out because you just said it was humanitarian. It wasn't for specific things for you. So I did cut a few things out like that, but. It was just because it was a dead end. You know what I mean? It didn't lead to anything.
But get this. So he knows nothing about my session.
Mm-hmm.
So he does take pictures of, on his camera, of orbs, only because when we first started dating, of course, you know, just being who I am, I have all these videos on consciousness and orbs and all this stuff. So I said, hey, if you ever get bored, check out this. It's interesting on orbs. Because this man's a very intelligent man, but he's very connected to the earth, naturally. He likes to fish and hunt, and he likes, you know, he's never gardened to the intent that I've gardened, but it's in him. Because I can just be like, oh, I want to plant this. And then I had to teach him how to use, he never even had the internet or cable. I didn't teach him how to use the YouTube, and now he's like, can look up anything. He's so happy because he can do anything, and he's like building all this stuff. But So it's just a very intelligent man, but just not, on board with all the modern technology. So he does this video of the orbs. Well, I came over for dinner one day, or I invited him over for dinner, and I'm like, did you watch the video of the orbs? He goes, why would I want to watch that crap? And I'm like, are you, like, because he was real mean. He was rough around the edges, but he's never had a girlfriend, that's why.
Uh-huh.
I'm the first girl, and he was, like, in his 50s when he introduced me to his mother, right? She loves me because I don't think she thought anyone would like a mountain man like him. He was so mean, but I thought, oh, this is cool. Like, you're not really mean, because I could see his heart. I really could. I was like, you're not really mean. But he goes, why would I watch these videos about orbs?
Mm-hmm.
I said, are you trying to hurt my feelings and say what I like is unimportant? He goes, no. I said, well, that's why you should watch it. And he did. And he goes, I got to tell you something. And he was like watery-eyed. He goes, I have this picture on my camera of this deer he shot. I don't know if he shot it or his cousin shot it, but they took a picture of this buck deer, right, that they shot. And it has 2 orbs coming out of it. But he didn't know what they were. He didn't know that's what it was.
Oh, wow.
But he often wondered, he saved the picture, and it was like from 3 years ago. From when I was, conversing with him about it. He goes, I didn't know what it was. He goes, now I do. And he goes, it blows me away. So now he takes all these pictures. Well, in our bedroom, after our session, he's taking all these pictures. We've never taken pictures in our bedroom, like where we're lying in bed, but he did for some reason, and there was blue orbs.
Oh, that was after the session, right? Because you told me about that.
Session. Yeah.
And we had the blue orbs in your session, too, which is amazing.
The blue light that was coming through. And, he doesn't even know that, though.
Well, you mentioned something about Earth in a face, or what were you saying? Earth
well,
face?
Remember when I sent you that picture and you said it's so defined? And when I'm sitting on my front porch, the picture, I sent it to you through a text message, but I don't think it was your personal one. I can resend it.
Oh, I don't think I got it. Did I respond to it at all?
Yeah, you responded to it, and you said it's so defined.
Oh, okay. I feel like I was in the session, and I remember.
I can resend it, but so after our session, I'm sitting in my sacred space, which is my front porch now. That's where I have all my plants, and I play it's my sacred space. And I look across the street, and there's, I don't know what you would call it, because it's like a wall of earth, but it used to be the lobby, okay, but they built it used to be the train trestle, but now it's a road that goes to the casino. So it's like, how the train trestle's up high? What would you call that? Like
just, are you talking like a train bridge, or are you talking about at the station itself?
No, a train used to go across here, so it's kind of like a wall of earth. Like if a train is on it, but I'm just going to send you the picture, and trust me, you'll get it.
Okay.
It's across the road. The train used to go right where I'm sitting on my front porch right now. You can look across the road, and it's a train, like the train track would go on it, but how it would be built up. It's like 10 feet high.
Right.
From the road. Straight up, like earth straight up 10 feet high. And the train would be across it, but now it's a road.
Yeah. Okay, so when you said Earth picture, I'm thinking like the whole planet.
I said Earth face.
Oh, okay, Earth face. Okay. Let
Do
me.
you know what I'm talking about?
Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys. Let me see.
Yeah, because this is after my session, and I'm sitting out on my porch in my sacred space, and I'm always talking to agape. I always say agape because that's the highest form of love, right? And I look across, and this face is looking at me. You can see the eyeballs and everything, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. So, of course, I send it to you because we connect. And I sent it to you because I knew we would all connect with this, honestly. Not just you and I, but everyone. And you're like, it's so defined.
Yeah,
but
I've got it up now for people to see. Okay. So there's an eye and eye.
Okay, cool, because I can't see it.
Yeah, it is so clear. I'm like, what the heck?
I know. And then I show it to Chris. His nickname's Nop. His boss name's Nopper. We call him Nop. And I show him, I'm like, look at this. He goes, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah. He goes, what is that? I said, I call it agape. So, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to call it, because it's so defined. But it's still there now. Like, right now, it's dark here, so you can't see it, but,
embankment. Thank you, Ronnie.
Embankment. Thank you, Ronnie. I didn't know what to call that, because I'm like, this piece of earth that goes straight up and down, the roads on it, and I wanted to call it a ditch, but it's not really a ditch, because
I feel you. Yep.
Straight up. Okay. Well, and this has not been touched up by anyone. This is a natural growth, and, we do, the city of Lawrenceburg, my little small town, is one of the richest towns or cities in the whole United States of America, because we have the casino. I mean, seriously, I'm looking at the casino as we talk.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we have, where my boyfriend lives, the land we live on, you can hear this loud truck going by.
Mm-hmm.
He must have been mad because he probably lost money. But where my boyfriend lives is like it's like, how do you want to say, like the ancestors, or no, it's the farmland, the original farmland. So his grandmother's father owned like hundreds of acres of Lawrenceburg, and over the years they sold it off. You know what I mean? So we live in the original homestead. Chris lives in the original homestead. It's so old, the house we live in. But so as you see that where it's at, it used to be the old train tracks, but now it's a highway to the casino.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's amazing that it comes out so clearly and that the eyes look so similar, and gosh, it looks. And then you can even see you can make out the nostrils, and I try to zoom in and it won't let me, so I apologize, you guys. I try to make it bigger.
Well, I have some more pictures I'll send you, because as the days went on, I could actually see the iris of this.
Oh,
the
wow.
eyeball. Yeah, so I'll send you some more defined pictures, but I thought everyone would get a kick out of it. But so after our session, I will say I wanted to give like my physical experience. So I hadn't put it together until I listened to the session that my knee was healed, and then after I heard the session, I'm like, oh my gosh! And it even says, didn't I say it's stuck in my knee or it's staying in my knee?
Yeah, you said something about your knee, but I didn't know about the healing at first. But then I noticed it when I was editing.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it either.
Yeah.
I was not present at that time either. Like, even in that part, I don't remember. I remember seeing, like, light, colors and stuff, and that's all I remember. Like,
that's so wild. That's just the very beginning.
Yeah, very beginning. So my knee was healed, and I didn't even know it was healed, and I hadn't even listened to the session yet, because I just did, life is busy, doing your stuff or whatever, and it was pouring down rain, and I was talking to someone, and I don't know what the conversation was about. It was like one of the kids or something, somebody in the family is who I talked to, and I'm thinking, my knee's not hurting, it's pouring down rain.
Mm-hmm.
And usually if it rains or it's down, I ache, and to the point I have to either do an herbal supplement or even ibuprofen, like I said, because it's better to do ibuprofen than have inflammation, because inflammation is going to do more harm than ibuprofen would be. Mm-hmm. Or you could do ginger, whatever you got on hand. But I'm thinking, it's pouring down rain, and my knee's not hurting.
Yeah.
But I hadn't listened to our session yet, so I didn't even know I was healed from that. I just said, thank you, Jesus, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was healed, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
amazing.
I was just thinking, thank you, Jesus.
It makes me wonder what else might have been healed. You're not in Tennessee, right? You're north of there. I forgot. Ohio?
No, I live in Indiana, but
Indiana, that's right.
Lawrenceburg, Indiana. You got to look it up, because I live right on the border of 275 there. So I'm 13 miles. I'm actually 9 miles to Kentucky, and 13 miles to Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, and northern Kentucky. So you can look up. Lawrenceburg, Indiana, Florence, Kentucky, and Coleraine, Ohio. But they are closer places, but those are the big parts.
Yeah, somebody just thought it might have been Lawrenceville, Tennessee. That's why they asked Jolie.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a southern accent because I lived in Texas for a lot of my life. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't think you did, but I guess I'm in Oklahoma, so I wouldn't notice it's not as bad as it is here, probably. So.
No, when I'm planting in my medicine wheel, I get an accent from Ireland.
Oh, nice.
I started talking to the plants, and all of a sudden I'm like, you didn't know. Like, I started talking to them, so I'm thinking, okay, well, whatever. I'm from Ireland, I guess.
Yeah.
But, so, in all seriousness, so after that, and a physical experience of, okay, before I even re-listened to the session, my knees were hurting, and I didn't even know. I didn't even connect it to that was why. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed it was pouring down right, my knee wasn't hurting. And I never even thought, like, it's not hurting, it's not, you know what I mean? You just go through life. And then I listened to it, and the light stayed there in my knees. And I think he even asked, like, is it healing or clearing? And I thought it's communicating, or I took notes, but I don't have them in front of me right now.
Right.
I know it sounds weird to everyone, but honestly, just think of me as you listening to this and taking notes, because that's really my experience. There's no other way to describe it. That it's just the truth. Like, that's it.
Yeah. And for anybody else doing sessions, if I could have given her the suggestion to remember parts of it, that does happen, but I didn't do that because it was just so fast paced and there was nothing real. I mean, it was so convoluted. It was hard to say, focus on this and remember it later. Like I did when Sherry saw the patch. It was a specific thing that I could draw her attention to remember when she came out of it. And she remembered it. So it does work to do that. It's just, I didn't know she wouldn't remember. I don't know. You seemed like you were really there. You know what I mean?
Well, I think we were both. I felt like I didn't even know you were there, honestly. Like, it's so weird because I honestly can say I don't remember it, so I don't even know what happened. But I will say it doesn't matter, because to me, I feel I know it's my higher self, and I already named my higher self Josie Rose. And the funny thing is, I named my higher self Josie Rose, and then my daughter had my oldest granddaughter, who is now going on 10, and her name is Josie Rose. But they didn't know I had that name picked out for my higher self.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I got a J from one of my spiritual teachers, initial J, like a little wood piece, and it has like letters in it and stuff. Anybody who decorates will know this. All the ladies will know. And it's probably a 5 by 5 inch letter J with flowers and stuff on it for Josie Rose that I picked out long ago. But anyways, that's my higher self's name. And I didn't know it was my higher self's name when I named it. I was going to change my name to Josie Rose when I divorced the first time. And then I just said, oh, well, later in life, I thought, oh, I need to name my higher self. Well, I'm going to name it the name I was going to name myself when I left Mike,
Right, yeah.
So that's how, and then my granddaughter's named that, so it's really cool. But, so I say Josie Rose, my higher self, took me on that journey. But there's so many things. Like I said, treat me like yourself, because there's so many things I question too. Like, what did that mean? What did that mean,
Yeah, another thing that I thought was so powerful, and it reminded me of the day of Pentecost, is when you started speaking in tongues or light language. And it felt very powerful. And if any time you received that healing, I don't know, was it then, or did something happen then? Because it was like you got filled with the Holy Ghost sounding. And you could feel it, I mean, I wasn't the only one. Everybody in the chat, many people were saying they felt it as well.
Well, I've had that happen twice before in my life. When I told you all and I shared this experience with you, and I think most people here tonight, is when I was about 12 years old, and my sister-in-law said I spoke in tongues. Not my sister-in-law, but my stepsister said I spoke in tongues. And I didn't know I was speaking in tongues. I thought I was speaking what I was saying, but she said I was speaking in tongues.
Oh, wow.
And I believe her, and I shared that with you, but I don't exactly remember. But anyways.
Yeah, I do remember now that you mentioned it, yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I felt it coming from my toes to my head, or head to toes. And And then one time when I was driving, out of the blue, and I didn't even believe in speaking in tongues because, mind you, the whole Temple Drive thing, the whole Church of Christ teaching was telling me my experience when I was little was not real and it was of Satan. And I thought, why would I didn't even know there was a Satan then, you know what I mean? Like, but I never even thought it. I thought, because the whole Temple Drive thing, and I didn't get it, act like a robot and all that crap. And I thought, well, it's true. It was a lie. And then one day I was driving down the road. I was leaving the grocery store. Nothing significant about the day, no different day than any other day. And I was talking to God. Now I say agape, but I was always talking to the Lord. And I don't know what I was even talking about. Probably about my ex-husband, because I prayed for him more than anybody in the universe. Because I wanted him to be what I wanted him to be.
Right.
And it don't work that way. But I didn't know it then. I thought I could just change it. And I was praying, and all of a sudden I started speaking in tongues.
Do you remember that time?
Oh, yeah, I remember it to this day. And I couldn't stop. And I kept saying, tap, 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 tap. And I'm thinking, every time I tried to say something else, another word would come out, like, I say oogie boogie, but I'm just joking. But it was like, I don't know what it was, but I'd be trying, like, say if I was trying to say your name, like Shane, it would be like, oogie boogie. Like, I couldn't say the words. I was trying to, like, pray over probably my husband, but I couldn't say his name. I'd be like, Lord, help my husband, be a better man. And then all of a sudden it'd be like, blah, 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 And I know nobody else was around. I wasn't trying to do it on purpose. And it was unexplainable. And I thought, well, I ain't going to ever tell anybody about this because this is really weird. Like, every time I try to talk, something else comes out, and they're going to lock me up. And I just let it go. And I never, it was so weird now that I think about it, because I remember doing it, and I remember going home and reconfirming in the Bible about you can speak in all these languages, but if you're not speaking love, it doesn't matter, Your favorite author in the New Testament, Brother Paul.
I love Paul. He served his purpose.
Paul did a great job because he brought contrast in our lives. But so Paul, think about it. That was really deep. Paul brought contrast, and Paul was blinded by the light. Think about that. That was really deep. So yes, but so I did it then, but nobody was around. There was no one to confirm it. And the Bible says unless you have an interpreter to say, but now I know what that means, unless you know what it means and all this. But I didn't say, oh, Lord, let me speak in tongues. That's from the grocery store, praying for my husband. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to do that. I was kind of freaked out that I was doing it because I was trying to say a name and I was saying something else. So, and I wasn't New Age, nothing then. I had no idea what I was doing.
Oh,
I was complete book chapter. Like, no, I'm serious. Like, this was, I think Mike was gambling, but my husband gambled for 7 years, before anything ever happened. So it was like, that was that point. And so when I heard that, no, I felt the same experience y'all felt. Like, I got truth bumps, and it was like my nose was twitching, and I have no idea what I even said. I still can't tell you.
Yeah, I think there was a big pause there for me because while you were doing it, and of course I cut it out or whatever, but while you were doing it, I felt like I was filled with the Holy Ghost. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It was powerful while it was happening, but it was just as powerful listening to it again. It's amazing how, it still comes through like it did at the time. That's just so weird to me.
Well, can you, was that right before the event or during the event? Is that when I did that?
Oh, let me see what part that was.
It's so weird to have to ask you that, but I know I did it, but I feel like, and I haven't taken notes on that yet. I'm nowhere near the event yet,
Right.
and taking my notes, but just re-listening to it with y'all, I I thought it was like right when it was happening, or the earth was spinning backwards, or...
Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that was, I can't remember quite where it was either. And somebody had mentioned that, oh, I missed that. And I'm like, oh, no, I have no idea where it was.
It's weird because I don't either, y'all.
It was just in the middle somewhere, just like out of the blue. I'm like, whoa. Oh,
I think
wow.
if I recall, and like I said, I'm not even to that point as far as taking notes, but just from listening tonight and just, I can't be 100%, but I think it was like when the event started happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a significant point. And when I heard it too, no, it did the same thing for me. And my nose was stitching, I got the truth bumps, and I'm like, wow, that's significant. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's significant.
Oh, wait, Megan's saying, no, the light language was when there was a storm, the tornado. So was it real close to the end then? Was it, wait, let me think, the storm with the children? That was right at the end. Was that when it was? I thought it was sooner than
I'm telling y'all, I don't know.
that. No, it was powerful though. It even brought you to tears. You could hear that you were just really getting bombarded with energy at that moment when you were sort of just speaking in tongues. Did that freak you out when you heard it on the replay? Or were you like, wow, what did you think?
Well, at that point, I was so freaked out from the spiders.
Everything, yeah.
Like, how could that freak me out? I'm like, who am I?
Yeah.
Am I real? Am I?
Yeah.
Am I, hallucination? Am I, like, what am I?
Yeah.
So, no, at that point, no. I'm, like I said, I am at the same level y'all are. I'm just now beginning to cipher it. And, like, I'm serious. Like, it's almost sentence by sentence for me. And I know it's not that pertinent for everyone else, but for me, it's like sentence by sentence, breaking it apart. And then I go, everything... I even like the seven-headed dragon, I can't glean from my memory because that was nations to me and revelations, and it's like I got to revisit that. And there's so much to revisit. I'm in the same place you are. I have no idea, but it all felt very loving to me, though.
I don't feel like it was the same one as in Revelations, by the way, just because the horns don't line up and. That was like boasting blasphemous things and things like that. So I think it's different, but I just found it interesting that, maybe that was the positive version of whatever that is, or maybe that's the artificial version of what you saw. Or, I mean, there could be a connection there, but I don't feel like it was the same thing because of I asked you about the horns. I was like, wait a minute, is it going to have 10 horns like in the Revelation? That's why I specifically asked you that. But there would have been 14 horns because they each had 2 for yours.
Yeah, and then I thought too, like I have this whole thing in which I sent you Bill Donahue, and I don't know if you remember. I don't expect you to.
Yeah, the meditation.
The meditation, but then did I send you the meditation, and then after it was like the God of the Old Testament, and how the contrast of 2 gods in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
And then, that was when I have so much right now to break apart, but at the same time, I started this new job at Citibank, and I'm learning you don't even know what I'm losing weight from using my brain. Just tell everyone that. Like,
they're exercising, huh?
Yeah, I even told it was funny because we were all laughing today. I'm like, just so y'all know, I lost 3 pounds this week, and I think it's because I have to think so much. We use a freaking computer because we're going through all this stuff, and we were all laughing, and I'm like, Ed, she goes, do you guys want to play a game and move away from the computer screen? I said, oh, if we don't, I'm going to whirl away to nothing. And it was just funny because everyone laughs, and I'm passing out all these stones and telling them about Q-Link and Wi-Fi, and I'm having a ball there. But at the same time, that right before we do this, the next week, I think I start my new job at Citibank, and it's it's all online digital, and I'm basically an online bank teller.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning. It's a 12-week course.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning all this stuff, so it's like I'm trying to integrate this and integrate that. So I haven't been able to like really dig in deep like I want to.
Uh-huh. Well, that's cool, though. I mean, it's a lot to take in, and I imagine Sherry said that it takes her a couple of weeks to process. And so I imagine, it could take a couple of weeks to a month or something to really integrate it, and
I'm
that's
thinking
from the
more
time
like
of
a
you
year.
listening. Yeah, yeah, but that goes from the time of you listening to it rather than the actual session since you don't really remember it.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, if I could recall it, then I could connect it. But it's like I'm listening like y'all are, and I have to take notes like I'm reading a book. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting to me. What does that mean? And I'll write it down, and then I have to research it, and then you know what I mean, come back to it. But the only natural part that I don't have to research is when I was with my lover, who then had the leg, from the accident, the soldier, and knowing that was Xander, and then Uncle B, because the part I don't know if I shared, with me being his teacher, teaching him to read. Uncle B couldn't read, and
Mm-hmm.
in real life, in my real life, in this life, it was all real, I guess, but
Yeah.
in this lifetime, he couldn't read, and he had to sign his name with an X.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I've heard about that. People that couldn't read.
yeah, Uncle B. But I always say, good old Uncle B. He wore bib overalls, and he was just a great, great man in my life. But he couldn't read, and what's interesting is, and I was his teacher in a past life.
Yeah.
And then remember me telling you about, like, he used to have to give me Tums for if a storm came.
Yeah.
It all connects. And even better is when I was raising my children, they'll tell you this. Okay, so I, being who I am, like studying everything, I knew that biggest form of tornado death was head injury.
Mm-hmm.
So you could call any one of my kids up live right now, and they'd be like, "What'd your mom used to make you do if there's a tornado warning?" Guess what? They put on a bike helmet, and I made him wear a bike helmet.
That's smart, though. That could save their life if something fell on their head.
Yeah, and then my ex-husband Mike, I tried to get him to wear a stainless steel pot over his head, but he wouldn't do it. But I put one over my head, and they all still laugh about it to this day. Remember when Dad said, "I'm not putting that on my head," and he would go out and watch the storm, and he said, "I want to know where it's coming from." I'm like, "No, you got to take shelter." Like, I would freak out, like,
Yeah.
to the max, right? And now my son has the fear, little bear, Jake, my youngest son. He has the fear of storms. And Mike tells me he's just like you are, and I'm like, well, is he putting it? But I used to make him wear a bike helmet. And now, if they heard this, they'd be like, yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, that's true. Like, I totally believe it now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, whenever there's a storm warning, I have to go outside and see. I'm like, I don't want to just go and huddle in the corner and wonder if it's coming. I want to see it, I want
Well,
to
the
see it
funny
coming.
thing now is I have no fear of that. Like, I can't say I have no fear. I have wisdom. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, if there's a tornado, I'm going to take shelter. But I can sit on the porch and watch it lightning. And, I overcame that fear through love and knowledge. But I will say that I definitely connect to that past life experience.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it's funny, I can connect to that, but I can't connect to that future. Like, I can't remember that part, but I can say, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense now. Like,
Well, that's good though, because I was like, why did it get disconnected before we found out why? So that's important to hear that you still got what you needed to get out of that. Because I don't feel like it'd disconnect like that. If I feel like they're keeping the connection good, if you will, and if it disconnects, it was just time to disconnect. I don't feel like, it was
well,
an
how
accident.
long was it? 3 hours later? I mean, hello.
Yeah, I was about to end it anyway because I was, you don't really want to go over 3 hours, so or that's what they recommend, So I was going to end it anyway, so it's really cool that it just kind of happened that way.
Yeah, and at the same time, it was like, It was surreal. Like I said, I'm on the same boat everyone else is, except for probably the past life experience. I feel like I can make sense of that, and the rest of it is like a journey of more questions. But yeah, it goes along with my persona,
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to know how does this work, why is that like this, and then it was pretty amazing. But I can't wait to hear T. Taylor's, because if you can get more connections like Dolores Cannon, even with some things like the rivers going backwards, whatever, the water, those things. I
Yeah, that's
mean,
weird. That's strange that it came up
it
like
is,
that.
yeah, and it's not. It's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And I think I don't want to I'm not trying to make myself think, that I'm lower than or not smart but I'm just pretty like, I'm just your basic everyday people, right?
Yeah.
I really am.
Mm-hmm.
And I take pride in that, and I'm glad I can connect in that way. So for me to be able to experience this is like very humbling, and it's, I feel very humbled by it, and a very good. And to be humbled means to walk with God. Like that's
Yeah.
the meaning of humble. But it's like, if the language I was using, it wouldn't be a language I would use. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh,
And
yeah.
we all know that if anybody's heard me talk. It's like, right? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, it's not my normal words.
And that's weird to hear yourself saying that, huh? Just
Um,
talking in a
yeah,
way you don't normally talk like.
I thought it was weird before, but now I know, like, oh, this is confirmation. I am kind of really weird.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, I've already felt welcome long ago.
Well, gosh, I really so much appreciate you sharing this. When I heard it, I'm like, this needs to be shared. It's really cool, but I didn't want you to feel pressured about it because I thought, because I know it's strange, And then when you didn't remember, I'm like, oh wow, I hope she, handles it well. I don't, because Sherry told me it's difficult, how, just to hear yourself and not remember, and so I didn't know, So I'm glad everything worked out, and I'm glad you got something beneficial out of it, and I'm glad you decided to share it. So I think you'll get more from it as time goes on. That's what I hear people say, is that over time, more of it gets revealed to you what it maybe meant at the time.
Yeah, and I feel like, to me, like I said, I'm a team player, so to me, if it's more of like universal or team play, I can see now from my persona, like why I would go there and then go to my own personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first I'm like, yeah, I should have went there first, and I'm thinking, no, not me, because I would be more about the team player and then come back to my own personal experience.
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, I'm on the same page as y'all. Like, I'm ciphering it to you, and I'm happy to share. And and I told you that in the email. Use your own discretion. If you want to talk about it to anyone or post anything, I don't care. Like, just do it, because we're all in it together.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, lots of love to you, and we can do another session too. Give yourself some time to process all of this, because you're not even halfway on your notes. So.
No, I'm not even like 1/3. I'm still ciphering. The only part that makes sense is like my past life experience. Like that, I don't need to cipher, right? That I'm
Right.
like, oh, that's But
Right.
yeah,
With the little furry creatures and all that. That's really cool, but I think it's symbolic. But I don't know. Just
it
there's so
is
many
simple.
ways to
I
take it.
know it is. Like,
Yeah.
I know that I know inside of me is saying my higher self has to speak to me in that way, because that's how I receive messages.
Uh-huh.
And then even after that, seeing what I call the earth face,
Uh-huh.
that was confirmation. Like, think about it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, it's images. Like, that's how I'm receiving messages. It's not, and that was one of my questions, right?
Yeah.
How do I receive messages? It's obviously not going to be audible. I keep asking, let me hear you, let me see. It's going to be more of imagery.
Yeah.
And that's how I received messages. So to me, it was like, that was the answer.
Yeah.
Um,
And you got the nose twitch on top of it.
yeah, my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josie Rose is laughing about that one, I guarantee it.
That's cool. I think that's so cool when it happened. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. That's why I say that, we're part of it, but you can really see how the higher beings, the benevolent beings kind of take control and take you where you need to go and show you what you need to show. And I tell people all the time, you don't have to prepare questions. I mean, you can, but you don't have to.
Well, I did, but these are my lifetime questions for answers for like 20 years now.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you get the answers, you get what answered, what you need answered rather than what you're wanting, I guess, is how it works.
Yeah. Well, I find it interesting that T. Taylor and the messages said she got a nose twitch. I don't know if it was during the session, but she said she had a nose twitch too. So
I think it was when she was watching today, but I could be wrong.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to revisit that. But I would love the comparison and being able to glean on that. And, like we did ours and then do her, and you said she's going to post it too, but that's going to be juicy.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, and I'm so open. I'm so happy. So I can get to go back and look at the messages and what everyone's suggesting that I look up. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, gosh, I really appreciate you spending so much time and sharing all this, and everybody for sticking with us 3.5 hours here.
So that's my session.
Yeah, think about that. That's wild. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate it. I guess we'll call it the day on this one. It's getting kind of late here, and I know you need to go too. So.
Well, it's a quarter till midnight, but I don't have to work tomorrow, which I appreciate so much. So.
Well, I want to thank everybody for being here. Lots of love and light to you guys, and whenever you're ready for another one, just let me know.
As always, love you to life.
Love you to life. Love you guys to life as well. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.